welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and Aftershow. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Lots of Gravity, Mitch Kennedy, Original D-Rose, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMelds24, Unimento, M, Iron26, Endless, Flat Earth Sage, Goldie McKiernan, Retro Bill, More Books, Kennebear, Bogey, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Nealand, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Matrix, Discord, and G+, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Well, the quickest way is not even to get into Coriolis, because Coriolis is a side effect of axial rotation, so you need axis first. That's probably the quickest.
Okay, but yes, but they're not doing that. They're not even seeing that. So you have to go through the hoops with them.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You'll end the conversation. They won't speak to you again or talk about it, but that doesn't mean that it was, if they realize that they have to prove Earth has an axis first, they're not going to waste their time.
Can you do me a favour, Matthew? Can you try Element? Because I've rearranged how the audio on the computer configures itself upon restart, and I think I've made it such that I'm tricking Element that's not working correctly into seeing a different line.
You got it.
Thank you.
You say you're tricking it?
Yeah, so the line I want it to be is what I've told the computer is the default line for all communications. So that when I restart and Element then connects, it goes, right, I'm going to go to the default communication device. It looks for what that is. And if what I've done works, it's looking for cable B. And it'll connect, go to cable B, and I'll have control over Matrix. Then, providing that the PC sound doesn't also do that, which is likely. Otherwise, they're on the same line still. But we'll see. Right. Do you want to say something then?
There it is. Flying, stinging lizards.
Didn't make any difference. Still exactly as it was. Oh well. Thank you for trying.
Yeah, but I hear them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not that. That's not what you're
It's not
talking
that.
about.
I want to be able to split the line so that sound coming in from the PC is on a separate line to Matrix, and then the sound will come through from the PC to Matrix when I'm playing a video. Whereas if they're on the same line, it won't. Anyway.
Got it. I got it.
Now that Matrix is working, I mean, like before, last week I wanted to give it a full week before moving on and putting in other things like Rumble or whatever. Someone else suggested something else, BitChute, something like that. Anyway, there's other things that I could be doing which I'm aware of, but I'm not until I know that the computer's happy. So I don't want to start messing with other stuff. However, if Matrix works, then I'll just drop Matrix. It works. It's functionally fine. Should I have an issue with another piece of software, and there's people using it, so it's not just going to die because of lack of use from me. Flatsoid uses it, as do a couple of others. So therefore, were I to transition to it, I can. If I decide to drop G+, which I've got no intentions of at the moment, but that might change. But I know that it functionally is perfect. It works. So I can stop using it because I don't need it, but know that should I ever just, I'll go into Element today, there's a load of people in there, I can just go into it and go into Flatzoid's bit if necessary, and it'll all link up like it would now and be working. So that's good. However, like I say, I want to get to the end of the week. We're Wednesday now. I want to get to Friday, this show, and then 2 more to say, no, I'm not going to have any PC issues. Yesterday, Skype randomly crashed, or just turned itself off, and then I just loaded it again, and it was fine. But that's just an anomaly that you're like, is that because of instability? I don't know. Might be. But if we can get to Friday, I'll start doing other things, because I can, hopefully, it's only been a week, but hopefully I can forget about the PC. As much as you will think I want to tinker with it, I don't. I want to not tinker with it.
So in other words, it goes through the whole week and you got Element in your back pocket if needed.
Yes. Whereas Paul was like, just drop Element. It's obviously not worth the hassle. I'm like, no, this isn't Element's fault. It's a PC instability fault. Well, regardless of if I use Element or not, it's useful that it's pushing it over the edge and making it crash. Because if it wasn't that, it would be something else, wouldn't it?
I would think so. But then again, I don't know anything about computers.
It's kept the show going by fair means or foul for the last 8 months since I've had it, regardless of its issues. So, and they're first world problems at the end of the day. Most people wouldn't care. I don't mind talking about it in the pre-show though.
8/10.
Nathan, I posted the videos for today. 2 of them. The first one, you have to get to the 259 mark and just go to the 507 mark, because it's a history and almost like a travel video telling you to come and visit where Al-Biruni did his thing, as reported. And the second one,
I've not talked at all about God of the Gap.
Al-Biruni.
Sorry.
And the second one is on Al-Biruni on the same topic. So first one, 259, you see it there. So
This is super annoying. It's now decided that it wants to, when I click on the link, it loads up in, what the hell is this? Not Chrome. Anyway, that's it. I didn't expect that to happen. Okay, let's just cut and paste the link into, keep loading it. Let's just do it this way. Copy link. Dr. James Tor, is that it?
no. It's a master delete right after your invite for today's
That's
show.
Paul that's sending me that. Okay.
So that's Dr. James Tor is going to debate Crazy Dave.
Oh, this is annoying. I need to figure out how to change my default browser.
Take your time. I need to get another cup of tea.
But Neil, if somebody can't understand that you need to have something to spin around to have spin, what's the odds they're going to understand any math?
No, they're not going to understand anything yet. I agree.
This is not an accident why they call it a merry-go-round.
And I mean, technically, any argument they give is for a flat plane spinning, not a sphere, because all the models they can show require a flat plane.
Yeah, we just need to see the curve. That's all we need to see.
Go to a baseball game.
It back. And thank God for that. I am standing at the very spot where Abu Rehan Al-Biruni had his observatory in the 11th century. This is where he
Save it for the show. This is the two-parter is going to be excellent.
Setting the level.
All right, didn't know that.
Yeah, you don't feel like you don't have the sense of when he's pushing buttons.
No, I know what he's doing, but sometimes he just starts it in the pre-show and keeps it going. So I wasn't sure if he was going to do that or just set the level.
Yeah, who knows what the hell Nathan's going to do? Correct, I agree with you.
It's his show; he can do what he wants. But the reason I spliced that first part is because this is more of a YouTube video trying to get people to come to the country and visit and tourism. But they, in the middle of this video, they talk about Al-Biruni and his so-called work. And then the second video also talks about Al-Biruni. So then we'll have later Eratosthenes and Fermat's principle and all these things that all related to this two videos here. So it's an ongoing series.
Nice. So they're going to take it to the spot where Al-Biruni proved the flat Earth, right?
Well, they're not going to say it that way, but yes.
Got it.
No, it's good because they take you right there. They tell you the story that everyone hears. And then all you got to say is, now, what did he do? He measured the height of the mountain? What did... What do you need for that?
You need a flat baseline, horizontal Earth, right?
Yeah. Two horizontals for the
That's true.
depression angle. Right, John? He's busy with his kids.
Yeah, Trent, that's correct.
Yeah, right.
Nice try there, Neil. You came in a little refracted.
Yeah, that's correct. I can't do John's voice.
I got an ice pack on my back. It's killing me.
It's funny that video. I bet people actually go to the place then on this tourist guide. They'll see the hill or the mountain, and like you said, it'll be explained that he's getting an elevation angle to the height of it, and they might even go to the top and look at the horizon and the depression angle, and say, "God, look at the the Earth is spherical," and they'll still believe it's fucking spherical.
It does everything you just said. The video will do everything you just said. But the funny thing is, we posted when we were doing celestial navigation, the eye-line horizon that people use with a bubble section or a plumb bob because they know they're zenith, and they can get perpendicular. And then when at sea, you have to use the horizon because you can't hang a plumb bob on a boat that's moving, and very hard to use a heavy astrolabe on a boat because it's moving. You have to get the zenith or 90 degree of the star or luminary. And what do you use to do that? A sextant that you rock back and forth and pick the 90 degree mark of that star against or relative to the horizon, a perpendicular. The one perpendicular with a plumb bob cannot be any different than the other one using the star against the horizon. They both have to be right angles and perpendicular because they both come up with the same number when done. One's the co-altitude directly, and the other one is the elevation angle, and then you subtract from 90 to get the co-altitude. So whether you come at it from this way or that way, you end up with the same results, which means two straight lines.
You can just imagine people. I'm not repeating myself, but people are going on this trip, and actually, these people will be feeling some sort of, exaggerated emotion, thinking, God, this is where the Earth circumference was measured. This is it's like it's a really spectacular. I can't, you know what I'm trying to say? They'll be overwhelmed.
It's
and all they can
they
see
don't
is
even
a
have to
flat
go.
plane.
They don't even have to go anywhere. Just grab a steel rod or a stick and drive it to the ground and wait for the sun to move, not the Earth, and watch the shadow lengthen or get small, depending if it's directly overhead, and say, see, that proves the Earth is a ball because of shadow. What?
Hold on a minute. How could you not get emotional about measuring the differential between two flat planes to figure out the circumference of a ball that doesn't exist? How could you not get emotional about that?
Because there's a mountain in the way.
No. Mountain, irrelevant.
I know. It's a crazy. All it is a depression angle. How they got a sphere out of a depression angle is to presuppose it.
Well, maybe they call it a depression angle because when they think about how they got it, they get depressed.
Very nice. Why isn't it clear that you can get up on a plane and have a depression angle to the plane, but the plane doesn't become a sphere when you do it?
I think that has to do with the piece of nonsense, like the argument where they give the flat earther the argument that the horizon is your eye level, and then everything's built upon that. And then there is no difference between eye level and the horizon, right? And then when the ball earth shows that there is, voila, it's a ball. As non sequitur as that is, that does seem to be how it works.
Yeah, but a phenomena of things disappearing bottom up happens on the plane because things get smaller with distance. And yet they use that, saying, see, the horizon, Earth curve, physical Earth curve is blocking the bottoms of ships and buildings. And the last thing you see is the mass. So it's going over a curve because they've got to presuppose they live on the ball first. And so because you presuppose you live on the ball, then it had to be going over the curve, which is the death nail for them because the Black Swan shows without any doubt that their curvature keeps moving based on the weather.
Well, also in the math, it's a flat plane. There's no curve in the math except for the increasing size of a circumference of a flat plane.
You mean the 7/6R and the 10/6R and whatever they have to make it flatter because they see more?
No. Like when you see eye level and sea level, and then there's that curve below it, that is an accumulation of flat planes. It's inverse to your altitude.
No, I got you.
From the surface level. As you go down, it's each point on that line that runs through the observer underneath ground level is the inverse of the rise in altitude.
Right, they just take it down below surface level.
Well, they misinterpret it that way. Yeah, it's actually two different calculations combined.
Is this a video? Is this the video you were going to do where you show the latitude lines as such?
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with the celestial sphere. It's like if you went to the ground and you looked at the ground, right, where you could, where the horizon, you dug a hole and you got in the hole, and the horizon and the ground were exactly in line, right? The middle of your eye. That would be 0.1. That's where the ground, that's where surface level is, right? That's that line that they don't like to talk about. And the point of the arc they're going to draw. Then you rise up an inch, right? And there's this drastic increase as it arcs away.
Right.
In the horizon.
Yeah. No, I get you. You see more of the plane as you get higher and higher. It's like in celestial navigation, if your eyeballs were on the ocean surface, there's no need for high divide correction.
Right. Well, what we're talking about is in this celestial sphere model, there is that circle that is the flat plane, right? That they keep, it enlarges as you rise in altitude. And what they've done is they've taken all those flat planes as you rise in altitude and stacked them inversely so that there's a curve that appears below surface level in the mathematics. Or it's not even math. I don't know why I keep saying that.
No, it's you're cutting through the side-on view of a circle, which they think represents a globe, and you got a chord line, and the arc is done away with in a sense.
Well, it's not a chord line. It's a diameter. It's a viewing diameter, I would say. But see,
circle around you.
Yeah.
Morning, guys.
So,
good morning.
As you rise in altitude, that circle increases.
Right. But that's normal. That's normal if the ground below you is flat, because you're getting higher, you see further.
Right. So all they've done is stacked flat planes upon flat planes, all of them running horizontal,
Here, let me see if I can explain it. So when you're very deep, except where your eyeballs are in line with the ground level, which is in line with your horizon, small circle. You go a little bit higher, larger circle, higher, all these different circles stack up on each other.
Yep. And that arc that forms when you do that is what they're calling Earth curve.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, it's easy enough to prove. If you go to the Salt Flats or any place where there's no hills or valleys, lay down, your view's not as far as you can see when you sit up or stand up or climb a tree. But it's all flat. It's not curving away.
What a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by 10th Man Rising, Matthew Eastman, Refracted Curvature, Neil, Chocolate Sane, Adam, Arwin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yo. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Welcome to the Really Is Level Nathan Oakley 1980 show.
Indeed. Is there any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
What's a hypothesis in the first place?
Suppositional statement of cause and effect, with a null if it's a scientific prediction.
Would that require an independent variable being able to be manipulated?
Yes, the hypothesis would contain your supposition of cause, otherwise known as independent variable.
That might be a problem.
Might
if
be
you're going to assert,
Go on, John.
if you're going to assert a phenomenon, but you believe we live in a model that doesn't exist, how are you going to do that?
Just make it up.
Speaking of making things up, any evidence of the distance to the sun?
It's over
You're
there.
gonna, you're gonna need an R value for that of the Earth. Am I right?
You are. Well, for their assertion of distance in a heliocentric model at 96 or 93 or whatever it is million miles away, yeah, that's an extrapolation from Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion, which has no distance because it only offers you scale. So in order to get distance, you need something with an actual size, and that was assumed to be Earth's size in the form of Venus, Earth's twin. If you've ever wondered why it's called Earth's twin, it's because Christian Huygens assumed it had the same radial value as Earth to give you scaling values when applying Kepler's third law. Then you can extract out the distances, like 93 million miles to the sun.
When you say scaling, not distance, can you explain that a little bit better?
Well, you can put the distance at anything you like, depending on what you use to give an actual size or an actual distance at any point in the maths. So hence, prior to Huygens, you've got all sorts of different distances to the sun assumed. Because if you scale one of the lights to be smaller and decrease the orbital value, the distance gets closer. But you can also increase it. You can scale it however you like with Kepler's third law.
All right. So if I came up with the idea that I want the sun to be 100 million miles away, then I just change the radius of Earth and Venus.
No, not the radius of Earth. You can't change the radius of Earth in terms of how it's assumed to be 3959 miles, because that's a derivation or a back engineering of the calculated and afterwards being measured the elevation angle measurements to Polaris. So if you're going to take those and make them work on a grid system, you have to start, number one, with the flat Earth to measure, but number two, that gives you a set in stone radius value.
Right. So the Earth one, sorry, Chuck, let me finish. So the Earth one you can't change, but you can make Venus same as Earth to get your 100 million or 93 million, whichever you want to put.
Or you can double it, if you wanted to. I mean, it wouldn't obviously be linear in terms of doubling the distance to the sun, because it's based on Kepler's third law. And I'm not 100%, I don't know Kepler's third law in terms of how the scaling values work mathematically off the top of my head. I don't. I'm not going to pretend to either. I don't need to, though. Because if you decided that you were going to make Venus twice the size of Earth, it would just obviously increase all the distances because you're changing the scale with an actual value. But when Huygens did it for Venus, it was just described in the documentation about it as being ingenious. It was an ingenious assumption.
Excuse me. If we've had mathematicians come here and tell us themselves that we've never actually measured the radius of the Earth, how did Huygens come up with the radius of Venus?
From the radius of Earth that was never been measured, obviously.
Oh, yeah, that checks out.
Right, 50 people. Hold on, just a quick plug. 50 people watching. Woohoo! Please share the show. We only just started and there's already almost 50 people watching, so that's the only reason, because people have smashed that share button. So you can be one of those people that get thanked and have that warm, fuzzy feeling because you smashed the share button.
That is not a woohoo.
Why am I not being able to get through the end of this sentence?
Because 50 people is ridiculous.
Thank you, Neil. That's so helpful. Carry on.
Well, we're going to be talking about Al-Biruni and what he did from a mountain before he went up to the mountain, and then what he did when he was on top of the mountain, if the story is true.
Okay. I mean, I don't know about this guy's channel in terms of needing algorithmic love because it's a promo for something specific. However, he's made a video and we've addressed it. So if you want to let this guy know, Nathan Oakley or at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And you'll see if you're in the live stream now, you're one of those lucky people watching us live, there is a link going by. So now, while we have a little chat about what this is with a bit of preamble from 10th Man, do it immediately. Just go to this person's channel. Maybe even subscribe to him. He's got very few subscribers. So check him out. Just Random Things is the name of the YouTube channel. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to be used as a generic description of what Al-Biruni did on his home turf. But we'll find out in a minute. 10th, do you want to just give us a bit of background on why you've picked this video, why we're at this particular time point, or whatever?
Yes. Yes, I picked this video because this is homeboy saying he's proud of his country and this accomplishment, and he does a really good job of telling the story. The second video, which follows this, is going to be more in line of the way we do review videos. So the first one is more of a tourism plug to come to his country and see where it all happened or supposedly happened. Second video is going into the actual argument itself. Different video.
So it's like a monument to the radius of Earth.
It's a monument telling the Al-Biruni story. Hang on, I got a truck behind me here, but it's a monument of a Al-Biruni story, and he wants to have people come to this place. You know, this is like the Mecca. This is where it happened. You need to come here. This is where it all happened.
Yeah, to prove it's a flat Earth. That's what he's going to do. We know that.
I also built a monument. I also built a monument to a dog that was a cat. Just so you guys can come through that.
Well, they do go over the necessity of a baseline. So it's pretty interesting how you could destroy your monument while trying to sell your monument at the same time.
I am standing at the very spot where Abu Rehan Al-Biruni had his observatory in the 11th century. This is where he quantified the radius and circumference of this little blue dot we call home. Abu Rehan Al-Biruni, being a
Got some chuckles? What's going on?
Woohoo!
What?
Cool, man. He went on the mountain, sized it up using a flat plane, measured the horizon using a flat plane. Awesome.
Yeah, we're getting there.
To query this.
Go on, Adam.
I'm looking forward to seeing the whole scenery. Because if we're in the middle of a mountain range, the claim becomes very, very difficult to substantiate, even given its assumptions. He's going to need an area of flat water by him. He's got to have. Because how else is he going to ascertain a level to be able to use trigonometry to get to the bottom of the mountain, to be able to get to the top of the mountain, to work its height from a flat baseline?
You're ruining this story, Adam.
Yeah.
Ruining it.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I'm looking in the video. I want to see a bit of water. Otherwise, this is going to get like even less plausible than it was in the first place. I'll just stop killing the story.
How old is this? It's only a year old, and the resolution is 240p. That's dire.
mathematical visionary, combined algebra and trigonometry,
and filmed on a potato
to solve the epic problem of calculating the size of the Earth.
Calculating? What? Calculating? Shouldn't you be measuring it?
No.
Yeah,
Having
I
read
was going to say, so
They
far
don't
he said
measure it.
Jeez. So far he's said quantify and calculate, but he hasn't said measure.
He's going to be doing
You
something.
can't measure it. It's all refracted, so you can't measure anything. You can only calculate it.
Alwyn, you're way ahead of us, right? We know we're going to get there eventually, but you're being premature.
No, Alwyn, it wasn't refracted back then. Jeez.
Al-Biruni's description, let me tell you how he estimated the size of the Earth.
Estimated? There's a lot of
Now
research
it's
in this.
estimated.
What?
Al-Biruni needed a mountaintop from where he could see the flat horizon.
From where we could see the flat horizon.
horizon.
There you go. We're looking over what looks to be a little valley, Adam. Can you see that? Hopefully Adam's getting at the live stream to actually have a look. I'll make it big.
Yeah, I can see it.
I don't know. At 240p, it's really hard to see through the pixelated garbage that this is. Wonderful scenery.
You won't see any refraction in this video because there was no refraction back then.
But they're admitting the horizon's flat, first off. Just, we'll get that out of the way.
Yep.
We're not
Why?
making up an estimate.
Why are they admitting the horizon's flat?
Because it's flat.
Needs an elevation angle, doesn't it?
It's what John and I were talking about earlier in the pre-show about your viewing circle as you rise higher and higher on the flat plane.
Like that's all.
John, do you want to expand on that? You said he's already admitted it. What were the words he used that made you say that? 72 people watching, please share the show.
He said that he needed to get high enough where he could see a flat horizon. Well,
Yep.
Even when you draw points out from your eye, reify it onto a sheet of paper as a circle, still got to be flat.
Horizon.
What do
And
you
Nandana
also know?
Fort was ideal for that. But first, he needed to measure the height of the mountain. He did this by going to 2 points in the valley, which were in a straight line.
Yeah, this is turning to two.
Oh dear. So he needs the height of the mountain, ladies and gentlemen. And in order to get it, he's got to use a 90-degree triangle. See this 90 here? It's represented by a little box. Hopefully you can all see that nice and clearly. What that means is this line along the base of the mountain is flat. Can't be anything else.
Yeah, it
With
looks
the
pretty
mountain.
flat in the diagram. Very flat, not circular at all.
There's no bending this line in the 90-degree triangle. This elevation measurement uses an angle that proves Earth is flat, because the angle only works if Earth is flat, and that's how Al-Biruni's measuring Earth to get the height. Flat.
You know the Earth is a globe because you measure it flat.
It's all right measuring it
Is he not
flat.
supposed
I'm
to?
just going on,
Go on,
just gone
Adam.
on Google Earth, Nathan. You need water. Otherwise, it's all right having a straight, flat line between 2 points, but how does he know the altitude? See, all he's going to be able to figure out now is the relative differential between him on his straight, flat line to the top of the mountain. But that doesn't give the height of the mountain above sea level. And he's in a mountainous region. This is just becoming more and more less plausible and more demonstrated to be a made-up story. You've got to know your own altitude to be able to take an angle to that and apply trigonometry to get it. The only way you can get that altitude is to derive it, which I don't think he does in the 11th century. Or be at sea level. But there's no sea.
You can't do this without an ocean or something.
No, you can't.
You can't do it. You need an ocean in particular, because a lake is no good because you don't know if that's not going to be sea level. You need an actual ocean.
So you're telling me we exposed this story? It's
No.
about time.
Sorry,
Oh, come on, Nathan.
Hold on, I just want to hear a repetition of what they're saying. You're saying we need sea... What now?
Level.
Why?
Because you need a scalar. It's all right saying I'm stood here and the angle to the top of the mountain is this many degrees. If I'm not on the baseline and I can't position that baseline because I don't know what altitude I am whilst stood in this Indus Valley, yeah, then the angle I measure has no relevance because I don't know what height I'm at to be then do even more complicated trick. But if you look at the trick that was presented to us, there's only one baseline, there's one measurement. And that's why I've always assumed in the past they've gone out on a boat to do this, because you've got to be able to do that because you want to be at the baseline to measure the angle. Otherwise, you're going to have to calculate the new angle from a supposed line you've created that isn't on the baseline, that isn't at sea level. But it's that baseline that gives it its altitude, because that's what you're going to work out first, the height of the mountain. The height above what? Above sea level. Yeah? So if you don't know how you are above sea level, assuming you're not at sea level, then there's no way of calculating it, is there?
Yes, sir.
Then he measured the distance between those 2 points. And finally, he measured the angles between those points and the mountaintop. To do this, he used a device called an astrolabe, which...
Hold on a sec. But hold on. Hey, Adam, if you have surface level and you know the surface you're standing on and the base of the mountain are level, you can get the height of the mountain above that surface level.
At sea level, you mean? Yeah. He doesn't know that. How does he ascertain? Remember the base of the
Hold on,
mountain is an
Adam. Hold on.
imaginary point.
Yeah, hold on. You didn't catch what John said. Just repeat it one more time, John.
Surface level, not actually sea level. As long as you know the surface you're standing on, your feet, and the base of the mountain are on the same level.
So how do you know that? Yeah, of course you can, but you can't know that, can you?
Yeah, I was going to say, at what point, John, when he's backing away from the mountain into the valley, well, he's going down a valley. The river's following downhill. So for every step he takes back, he's going lower. So how can he say that he's establishing one level baseline for the height when moving back away from it, ultimately to get a different angle? Unless he's at sea level the entire time as he backs away from it, how can this ever be accurate?
Can't
be. Yeah. You have to have the height of the mountain above sea level, and you have to have a sea horizon to be looking at. Otherwise, you're at absolutely nothing.
Okay, so not only does he need... Hold on, let me clarify. Not only does he, as we've already declared, require a flat Earth methodology with a right-angled triangle in order to do this with a baseline. In order for it to be accurate, he needs Earth in its entirety to offer him a reference plane in order to do this. So he not only needs a flat Earth method, he needs a flat Earth full stop, otherwise it won't be accurate. Am I correct?
Yeah, because he's not doing celestial navigation, right? He's doing trigonometry. So if he ascertains a level, he can't apply that angle. We could apply it to a celestial object, but he can't apply it to the top of the mountain to do trigonometry because he doesn't know how high he is. He's got no baseline. He's just got some random angle measurement that you don't know what height that's been measured from. It's useless.
So you're saying, like with everything we do here, not only do all roads in methodology in this instance, as we've already detailed on many shows previously, lead to a flat Earth methodology, but further to that, for the methodology to actually pad out in their bastardization of the flat Earth elevation angle that they're taking to the height for the use of trig to derive the height, I should say, they also need a flat Earth further to that for it to be correct. It's nuts. It's days like these. I just want to blow some smoke up my panel's ass, right? It's days like these that make the ridicule and the general assumption that we're dumb all worthwhile. Because it's all well and good me saying, yeah, I've got an evergreen subject, all roads lead to flat Earth, we're always going to have stuff to talk about. It's when it comes from the most unexpected places, something that you've already got under your belt, and go, oh, yeah, Al-Biruni's proving a flat Earth. Look, he's measuring a height with trig using a flat baseline, using a flat Earth. Well, no, it's not strictly accurate because he needs sea level. He needs all of Earth to be flat.
Jason, no, there's a response to that because you all are making a claim about needing sea level. So surveyors operate inland all the time. Are you making the claim that they have to know their height above sea level?
They already know their height above sea level. That's why they have benchmarks. Yes, they do.
Hold on, before we get into the surveyors, hold on. At what point in the claim for Al-Biruni does he ascertain or establish one reference plane to do this measurement on? Where is that detailed in the story? And if so, how does he stand on it as he backs away from it? How does he get to that same reference plane if the ground beneath him has dropped away? I mean, further to that, if their assertion is true in the first instance, let's say we work out a way that we can force the methodology to make it work flat, as John is proposing, right? And he's saying there's a get around to make it flat. Okay. Well, hold on. Their overall claim is that the ground's falling away from him as he backs away from this mountain. So no matter what they do on a sphere, this can never function correctly, John. Correct? Because they're saying the ground is always falling away.
I'm not arguing with those morons. I'm arguing with you guys about needing the ocean horizon because you could use a lake.
Okay, so if you've got a lake, you're saying you can correct when you're doing the trig, when you back away from the mountain or move towards it and go up in elevation by contrast, doesn't matter which way, to get the differential to calculate the height with the trig, right? If when you first establish the baseline, you use a lake to do it, are you saying that you could do a dip correction for the...
No, it wouldn't be necessary.
Well,
Why
the
are you
second...
correcting
Use a lake, John.
Hold on, let's hear it. Hold on, Brian.
Use it.
Hold on, Brian. Everyone else, just go ahead, John. Let's hear it.
You're not correcting for a dip if you're using the land as your baseline or the water.
No, I get that, but for the first, to establish a baseline for the first triangle, I can totally understand that. But when he moves away from the mountain and then retakes the angle, right? Does he use the lake again and then minus off what he's lowered in elevation? Because that's not part of the story, as far as I'm aware.
Well, I ain't saying that his story is good. I'm just saying you don't need to know your height above.
You do,
sea
John.
level.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You do. You can't
All
use
you
a
need
lake.
to know is your height above the surface that you're standing on.
No, you don't.
Hey,
You need
can't you
to
just
know
get
your
level
height
from
above
the
sea
actual
level.
Say Brian. Everyone else, shut up. Go ahead, Brian.
You need to know your height above sea level. You can't use a lake even for the height of the mountain because you don't know if that lake is at mean sea level. There's many lakes that aren't at sea level.
need mean sea level.
You're missing what John's saying.
You
He's
do.
saying,
I'm
he's saying
not
you need...
missing what
hello,
John's saying.
Everyone listen to what John's saying. He's saying, regardless of sea level, full stop, once you ascertain a baseline, then you're good to go. Regardless if you're backing away and lowering elevation. I still don't understand how that's possible because you've got to point the astrolabe at the bloody mountain at some point once you've already got the first angle. You've either got to get closer or move further away and retake the angle. Well, if you're physically dropping in elevation at that point, you've got to correct for that. Now, if you're saying, well, I can use a lake that's in the near vicinity to establish the base and then correct for that after I back away from the mountain down the valley, then fine, but that's just not part of the story, is it?
No, he said straight. He said a straight area. He didn't say he was falling away when he backed away. If you listen again, he found a flat area at the base of the mountain. That's what he said.
Yeah, but his point is in Egypt. We're both paying too much attention to what he said. The point is you can't do this without using the sea horizon and knowing your elevation above that sea horizon. It's the only way to do it.
Can we rephrase that, Brian?
What are you measuring?
Hold on. Hold on, Brian.
Hold
Hold on. Just rephrase what you're saying to establish a flat Earth baseline. Because that's what it is. Just so the audience keeps on track with what we're proving here as we discuss this. Because every time we have this disagreement, we're disagreeing with how they can utilize a flat plane and establish a flat baseline and how that may or may not be possible. If they were to chime in at this point, Brian, they'd be chiming in on how we can establish it flat to do this. Just want to make that absolutely clear with everything we talk about so that the audience is in no uncertain terms recognizing that we are discussing how flat it's got to be for them to do this. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah, it has to be flat. What they're doing because the horizon's not geometric. But if you're under the impression the horizon was geometric, then you're not going to use a land horizon or an horizon or some lake as the baseline. You must use mean sea level, and you must know your elevation above mean sea level, and you must use the sea horizon. So you'd have to be standing on a mountain and using the sea horizon.
Yeah, we've heard that 4 times. No offense. Okay, we've heard that.
Hang on.
Unless you've got something else to add to it.
1 second. You're missing it. You look at the Earth curve calculator, the 6 foot is not 6 foot above a lake, or the 12 foot is not 12 foot above a lake or above some other mountain or valley. It's above mean sea level. And it gives you your drop rate, your drop, and your distance to the sea horizon from that elevation. It's all based on the sea horizon. It's all based on mean sea level.
Yes, that's correct in Earth curve maths. And yes, that's correct in celestial navigation. He's not doing that, though.
But he's trying to measure. Al-Biruni has been claimed to be measuring the radius of the globe Earth.
Yeah,
so he can't do that without seeing.
But not by reutilizing the geometry of the Earth curve maths in reference to the tangent point horizon. He's not doing that. It's not suggested he's doing that. We don't know what he's doing, but John is trying to say he doesn't have to reference a sea level horizon in order to establish a baseline to then do the trig and get the height. That's John's point, but no one's picking up on it, and it doesn't matter. He's getting. I can hear him getting blue in the face saying it, and no one's listening to him.
The baseline is no good to you. Baseline is no good to you. Go on,
Can I ask something as well?
Nathan, go to Master D, Nathan. Here's another video from another guy showing you the Al-Biruni story. And what this guy on the first one that we're talking on, he's saying, this is where it happened. You ought to come to our country, come visit the site. And then he shows the fort from where he did it from. This next video, and I put a screen capture on it, where has he got it at?
Okay, so this video, just want me to play through in its entirety.
Out of this obsession with scholarly learning came a true mathematical visionary, Abu Rayhan Muhammad ibn Ahmed al-Biruni. And like all Islamic scholars of the time, Al-Biruni was obsessed with the science and mathematics of the ancient Greeks, Babylonians, and Indians. And because of the success of the translation movement, he had literally on his desk the great work on geometry by Euclid, Ptolemy's Almagest.
You know where we could start this off to see his measurements, because this is a 6-minute video.
No, if you fast forward, you'll see the picture that I took a screenshot of, and it's not the same as the other guy's place, is what I'm saying. And he's supposed to be there too.
This is what we worked from the first time. This presentation.
Hold on, guys. I can't extrapolate a single screen image to a time tenth. That's you know, you need to give me.
I'll find it. Tell you. Go on, Adam.
If you just use the screenshot, that'll probably be sufficient, Nathan. Because the point it's making is that this was given to us, and why we accepted it in terms of, okay, he's obviously going to go across a body of water, the sea, yeah, so that we've got sea level, and that's our baseline to work out to go to the apex of the mountain. So
sorry, Adam, 1 minute 50 seconds. Go back a little bit earlier if you want context. Go on, Adam.
So that was it. That was we've accepted that because it's presented that this has come from sea level. Because like I said, fundamentally, if you've not got that, you've got nothing to do trigonometry on. It's not celestial navigation. Like I say, it's not just define a level and you can work from there. You've got to define an altitude for that level to be relevant to.
Yeah. And in this level, if you keep going forward from the spot I put you there at 1:50, you see him dragging a huge astrolabe to the shoreline.
Okay. Justin, Joey in chat says, it's round, trust me. Shut it down, Nathan. Right, so 7 years later, and we finally got our globe proof. Thank you for the super chat, Godzilla37.
So we're debunking our original position that he couldn't see the ocean from where he was at to this video where he could see the ocean from where he was at, and he used an astrolabe to measure the height of the mountain.
Off a flat plane. Off a flat plane. Let's just get it clear for the audience while we argue about how this flat plane that he's using is going to function. No?
Measurements around this small...
Yeah, so flat then, Chocolate. But I don't mind the panel arguing about that amongst themselves. It's the kind of minutiae that keeps us razor sharp here. So I'm glad to hear it. And I'm on your side, John. Absolutely, without question. But for the fact that we haven't got the methodology detailed, we may get it from some more nuanced source. But you're saying it is possible, and then offering up a description of establishing a flat baseline to make it possible with a lake or whatever else you're using the horizon out in a plane or whatever, a little flat area. It doesn't matter. When they're describing the ground falling away at 8 inches per mile squared, because at every single point of this discussion between the panel members, we're proving it's flat. Al-Biruni required it to be flat. Just how the methodology of what the flat bit he uses is still proving it's flat regardless of how long they argue about it. So I'm happy for it to continue. We'll just listen to a bit of this guy's video from the timestamp that
before you go
gave us.
Before you go, Nathan, real quick. Don't miss what we're actually seeing. We're seeing one video say it happened here. We have another video going to say it happened here. And we're saying we don't even know if the story is true. Keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, other than
Are both
debunking the
videos
YouTube,
made by the same guy?
maybe, but we're debunking a videographer. One of them's not very good at figuring out where Al-Biruni actually was. That maybe we want to focus on that. Maybe we don't. We'll see.
Mountain peak, you can work out the size of the whole world. Al-Biruni's first step was to work out the height of the mountain. He did this by going to 2 points at sea level, a known distance apart, and then measuring the angles from these points to the mountain.
See what now? What's this? 90 degrees? Like, what, flat all the way to the sea level from the mountain? Mountains are quite up. They're like quite far away from sea level. So all the way from the mountain at its base to sea level, flat as a pancake all the way. Gotcha.
Right. Al-Biruni was not claiming that the surface was curving. Apparently.
Well, it needed to get to sea level to establish a flat baseline all the way from that sea level all the way to the base of the mountain for its height, off sea level, and assuming that we've got a straight horizontal baseline all the way along from him to the height of the mountain. It's right on screen right now. Earth is being measured flat. That's how it's done.
It was just tasked to do the measurements. I mean, did he say that he thought it was a globe in his writings?
When we get to the next bit of the methodology, you will.
Mountaintop. So to measure the angle to the mountaintop, Biruni had to use
a flat Earth
device like this called an astrolabe.
Requires 2 angles. 2 to get the trig to work, to derive the height. Both will use the same baseline that's flat.
It's basically a giant protractor. It has the angles in degrees marked around the outside and a pointer to help him determine his line of sight. So if we try now and determine the angle to the top, it has to hang freely and then, okay, so if you let it hang, I'd like to stress, if you haven't
Nathan,
noticed...
doesn't it protract? You get what I wanted.
Sorry. I've still got a question if we've paused for a sec. I keep getting patient, so I'm sorry, I've missed John's point. Are we saying that this is doable on a lake of an unknown altitude?
Well, hold on. Unknown altitude.
Oh, yeah, because you don't know the altitude of the lake.
What? What do you mean? If you know the altitude... Oh, John.
Well, no, hold on. No, I said it was possible to derive the height to your baseline.
How?
But that's no good to you.
So there's no use in this, is it?
Well, no, you can use 2 measurements to figure out the height of the mountain to your baseline.
Right. Let's just, because I'm not sure being contrarian here, but yeah, if he's on a lake of unknown height, can he calculate it? From just the angle?
No, we can calculate the height off the level of the lake.
Yeah, which is useful for what?
Nothing if you're going to try and derive a geometric physical sphere edge horizon for the trig to the radius.
Does it tell you the height of the mountain?
That's been our point.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because
so
what does height?
No,
it doesn't, because height would be in reference to everything else surrounding it. Height is only relevant as a mathematical description if it's comparable to things that are nearby. So how high is it? Well, it's 5 feet. Well, it's a mountain. Yeah, 5 feet. Well, compared to what? Compared to this bush that's right at the top of it? No, you need to compare it to other things that are comparable on an even playing field. A flat, level Earth. So with reference to sea level, when we take our topology, this is back discussions to taking apart Bev, try thinking. More power to you, my friend. You're out fighting the good fight, I'm sure. Nevertheless, the topology of the land, when you say, how high is this mountain? Well, in reference to what? A level plane at 0, sea level. That's how you'd get the height, because that's all that's important, because it's the height off the surface that you're going to be measuring a tangent to. So it has to be in relation to sea level. It can't not be anything for the next step that he does. At this point, where John's saying, no, you can just get the height off a level of a lake, but that's only in reference to the level of the lake. And what about anything else in reference to below the lake, if the mountain has got a lake in the middle of it, quite high up, which is very likely in Lake District here, that you get that all the time.
That's what me and Adam have been trying to tell you for the past 15 minutes.
I think I.
No, that's what we've been trying to tell you. Never mind.
No, go on.
Well, that's what we've been trying to tell you for the past 15 minutes. You can't do this without knowing your height
You
above.
can't agree
Sorry,
with them now.
you can't do this without knowing your height above mean sea level. And you
on
need
two
to have a
different
sea
arguments.
horizon. Hang on, Kent. You need a sea horizon to do it.
John's not arguing that point. He's saying to the guy's baseline where he's at, not the
Yeah,
sea
but he
level.
doesn't know what
But he
he's at.
can't. No, that's why I'm saying is that contrarian. Because yeah, you could make that point, but it doesn't do anything. It just gives you a nonsensical number that doesn't have any relation to anything you can use it for to derive what Biruni's going to do. So no, you can't do it. Yeah, he could go and get his favourite takeaway numbers. They'd be more useful than the angle off a lake of unknown altitude.
Right. It doesn't do anything for proving the globe or any of the stuff that this Al-Biruni's been credited for, but it does prove that to the surface of the lake and from the surface of the lake to the top, that can be done, is what John is saying.
That's the point.
But
That's
right,
just retarded. It's just fundamentally
Hold on,
retarded.
Adam.
to
Hold on.
make that
Hold on. Everyone's
statement.
arguing too much. John, then Adam. Go ahead. Go ahead, John.
No, I'm on about Al-Biruni. If Al-Biruni was providing that, he'd be retarded in making it in some kind of useful thing. What use is it to derive that? How can you use it? You can't.
You can't.
So
You're
what
right.
would be the point in making a statement that I could do that when I can't do that with it in the first place? Because it's of no, it doesn't have the explicit details to derive anything that he's trying to do from. And if Biruni would claim that he's got some lake in the middle of the southern India somewhere, or northern India somewhere, he's got to know the height because he's got to bring that baseline down so that it's level with the bottom of the mountain. And the bottom of the mountain has to be at sea level, irrespective of where the mountain range is. The bottom of the mountain to do the trigonometry on is at sea level.
No one's arguing that. No one's arguing that because
that's the point.
We're going to trigger each other very quickly. Everybody take a breath. We're going to play another little bit of the video just to get everyone to calm down.
I'm just confused as to what the issue is.
I am calm down.
We haven't
I'm not even
resolved it.
arguing with Adam or John.
We haven't.
Come on, 10.
Thanks to Adam and Brian,
purpose-
the issue has been resolved. We're all back on track, and this video is affirming what he needs. He needs sea level. He needs a reference to get the height. In reference to everything else, that means that overall, he needs sea level to be level to give him a reference for the height. So he needs a flat Earth measurement methodology with right-angle triangles. He needs a flat Earth to reference everything around the mountain to give him a relevant height in respect to everything else that surrounds the mountain. So he needs a flat Earth for his flat Earth methodology so we can get to the height. Are we all clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Why do you think I picked this video and the one after, which we haven't even got to? And then, as Adam reminded us, we watched the one we're looking at a year ago, and we saw the water. We saw this whole thing already before. I know he remembers, and I know I remember. And so I did it because the stories don't match. That's what I'm getting out of this video.
You've
Is
told
this
us
guy
twice.
saying it
I don't
happened.
need
We get that. We're just going to reiterate the things we want to do here forever, or what? I'm not going to be that person repeating myself, but let this guy know. It's a different videographer now, so let this guy know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Drop him a subscribe. It may be better. At least he's filming in 1080 as opposed to 240, which is better.
Already, that Al-Biruni would have made his measurements more meticulously than I am. He did them again and again to get consistently reliable results. Okay, that's about it. And that is 24.5 degrees.
Excellent. Flat Earth required. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Al-Biruni is called the godfather of geodesy. That's surveying. Right? He's not going to not use mean sea level. And
maybe instead of arguing this, go back and listen to it, because that is not the point that you all made or I argued with you about.
Okay.
That's what we were arguing about. I don't know what you were.
Let's not argue about what we were arguing about.
Being honest. I'm not attacking you. I just don't know.
Okay. We're not going to rehash arguing about what we were arguing about. Let's too many steps for my liking. Anyway, 100 people watching. Woo-hoo-hoo! Massive shout out to all of you. Smash the share button. That's the only reason we've got 100 people watching. And if you haven't done so already, hit the share button. What's your problem? What are you waiting for? Go and hit that share button. And as I said before, there's a link going by to this particular videographer, or name now, because we haven't done that yet. They are called Alter Foundation. So go and check them out. And the video, my God, the video is called Al-Biruni, open brackets, Al-Biruni, the great Parisian scientist. This isn't science. This is maths. Anyway.
Okay, so now we've determined one angle. We now have to go and pick our second spot along the beach. The distance from the first to the second point must be measured accurately. In this case, it's 100 meters, and the 2 points must be in a straight line with the mountain.
When he says,
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the 10th man. The particular you stopped me from saying a minute ago. 10th man said earlier, we don't even know if this is real or not. No, we do know if it's real or not. Right? As in if he actually did it or didn't. He didn't do it because the horizon is claimed to always be refracted. And that supposedly refraction supposedly wasn't known about back in his time. Not that they actually can claim actual refraction. They're claiming some mathematical nonsense that's based on him supposedly using a geometric horizon. Just wanted to point that out. So no, none of this happened. None of it happened.
But does Al-Biruni
not in what
say
they
it's a
said.
sphere ever? I mean, we know
Sorry,
he measured it.
Hang
We
on,
know he
Neil.
measured it and everything.
maybe we're 4 people talking, it'll be clearer. Neil, try to not start your sentence before someone else finishes, then they'll hear you. Go ahead, Neil.
I'm just asking, did Al-Biruni ever say that he measured it as a sphere?
As a sphere?
Well,
it's on screen now.
We don't know what he said.
It's on screen now. It was just
Yeah,
detailed.
but that's people saying it.
I'm trying to answer him. Bloody hellfire. Yes, he is claimed to be measuring the bloody sphere. He's getting the radius of it. It's on screen now. At C. That's the tangent point geometric horizon. Hey, Rufy. Hey, McToon. Hey, Phil Bell. How's that refraction? I mean, geometric horizon working out for you. Yeah, good. Yeah, well, straight lines needed for angles and dip corrections and so forth. You haven't got one. It's bent. It's not a tangent anymore. Neither is it a tangent for Al-Biruni, marked from A to C. Bearing in mind that H has been taken off a flat plane. Yes, Neil, he's definitely trying to claim he's measuring the sphericity of Earth, deriving the radius at a tangent point marked as C. I nearly got to the end of that sentence. Almost, nearly. Go ahead, Brian.
That's what I'm saying, Brian. It's other people, right?
Radio check.
Hey, QE, good to have you.
Remember, Brian
Can I
addressed
say
Seth Man
something
here.
first? I mean, without 5 or 6 people trying to butt in.
You can, but Brian hasn't got to the end of his point. Neil just needs to affirm that he's heard what I've said. I need to shout out original D-Rose, just random things, and Joey Passiano, or whatever he is, our clown, dependent trolling, foolish liars. Fair enough. Thank you for the super chat. Right, Brian, then QE. Go ahead.
No, I leave QE go ahead. I'll hold.
Oh, well, that balls everything up. Oh,
Holy.
Go ahead, QE.
All right. So I was listening to the video right here. He told you he made the measurements from sea level a couple times already. Then he said he went to the beach to get 2 measurements from the beach. I've got Al-Biruni at, what is it, Nandana? 642 miles away from the ocean.
That's my point, John.
That's right.
There is no way of defining sea level, 600 odd miles inland. Yeah. And this is what's been purported to us is he's doing this off the shoreline to take the angles. This is where we're at. We're saying no. You're high up in the mountains. You've got no idea. It's northern Pakistan, right, where I found it, yeah? So it's on the foothills of the Himalayas, basically, yeah?
Yeah, I Googled Earth it. It's in Master B and Wallbusters if you post it.
If you go into the local topography, all you've got is rivers running down the mountain, and there appears to be a lake so far away. But the point we made earlier is you've got to know the altitude of that lake to be able to use that as a flat surface to do your trigonometry for just the height of the mountain.
No, that's not what you guys look. That's what come up later. But the point was that y'all made is that there is no flat spot where you can use to establish a baseline. And I said that was wrong.
That wasn't our point.
Yeah, what? Go back and listen. I'm not going to argue.
Why are you
What are you
guys
trying to do?
cross-talk-
Straw manners, John Osterman. What's the point? We've made the
No.
point a million times. What's the point you're trying to make? Are you just being trying a little bit funny for no reason, or is there an actual point to what you're saying that we're addressing, or is it just you need to win this argument?
Yeah,
I'm not
neither.
interested in winning the argument because y'all are
what's the
trying to have a
point?
different argument.
You've strawmanned and
I'm not winning.
misrepresented what we've said and
No, I
re-clarified
didn't.
15 times.
He
So
did
what's the
not
point
do
of
that,
what you're?
Adam.
What's the? I'm not having a go. I'm confused as to what the point he's making is, because it doesn't appear to be anything other than, no, I'm sure you said that wrong, Ad or Brian. So what is the point you're making, John, in terms of relation to that initial claim and what you objected to us saying?
I just said it. You all said that as he's traveling away from the mountain, there's no way for him to establish the height because he's constantly traveling downhill, right?
I said that, yeah.
I never made that claim. It's not relevant.
I didn't say that either.
I did.
But Nathan said it. Oh my gosh. Look, I'm the guy who picked the videos. I know what John is saying. I know what you're saying. You're two different arguments. Why you guys...
I don't understand John's argument.
I don't know what John's saying.
Okay, let's just affirm.
And John's a clever lad, so we're asking what the point is.
Hello? Yeah, you're right, Adam. In terms of the methodology for deriving radius or height of mountain, John's point's not relevant. John's saying, no, I wasn't necessarily guiding you towards making the methodology work. I'm just saying at that point in the discussion, the assertion of a baseline full stop is possible, regardless of whether it's incorporated into the methodology. Correct, John?
How?
Right. Because the lake level will be parallel to sea level. Or do you contest that?
But that's of no use to you.
It doesn't help you.
He's not arguing that. He's just saying there is a way of doing it. And it might be pedantic, but he's correct.
Yeah, with regards to what? With regards to nothing to do with what Al-Biruni's claiming.
Yeah,
you mean
yes.
just randomly?
Okay,
Can
if
I
you
go
want that,
to a
I'll
lake
give it you.
and
Hold on.
ascertain a
Okay,
level?
so we
Yeah,
can
of
move
course
on.
you can.
Hello. So we can move on. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'll call John pedantic, and you're accusing him of being petty. That's what you're saying.
No, just completely non sequitur. It's a completely unrelated point.
It's not.
That had nothing to do with what we were all discussing.
I'll point out something that John said earlier that was incorrect. John said surveyors work inland and they don't know their height above sea level. That's incorrect, as I pointed out. They do know their height above sea level.
Okay,
It's
that's
established with
fascinating.
benchmark. They've established all that.
Oh, God.
I'm not.
Let's take this
I'm not
non-sequitur
trying to have an
train.
argument with John.
Hello. Okay,
I
can we
thought
get
it was
this
in the
back
middle
on
of
track?
a debate. Sorry.
It's not that it needs debating when you're saying it is non sequitur to John, but you want to debate about it after pointing out it's non sequitur.
No, not really. The initial thingy was John never makes points that aren't valid and worth investigating. So I was completely confused as to whether I was interpreting it as it was or I was missing something in order for that John had said, the pertinent point of what he was making.
Right, because Nathan just said he's not trying to prove it with the methodology of the whole story of Al-Biruni, trying to prove the radius value or the spherical nature of Earth. John was not saying it even works for that. He's just saying you can do it with a lake. And you guys are saying, but that's not the official Al-Biruni story, and you guys want to tie it to that. It's a separate argument on something else.
You can't do it with a lake. That's the point.
He's not saying you are. Gosh, he's not saying the lake proves the radius of the Earth. My goodness.
So what's the point of what we're trying to find out, Tent, what he's actually saying then? Because if he's not saying that...
Let me end it. Let me tell you. Because at the point where it was made as a statement that it could not be done in terms of the assertion of the baseline that was being pointed out, at that point in the discussion, just to be factually correct, John said, no, that's not strictly true for this particular... He didn't caveat it because he didn't know he'd be challenged so heavily. He didn't caveat the fact that he was saying for this particular section of baseline assertion only. He didn't caveat it that much. Okay, fine. But now we all know that.
It's not sequitur because it doesn't help anything. Because what he's talking about, what John was talking about Al-Biruni doing, just using the level he's at or whatever, that doesn't. If you don't know what that height is above sea level, it means nothing to you. The whole thing is pointless.
The statement is you can ascertain, you can define a horizontal which will be parallel to the baseline, but you won't be able to ascertain what relationship your parallel and the baseline have without
Yes.
certitude.
Yes. Well, if John can concede that, I think everyone will be happy.
Very well. Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
But like I said, I wasn't trying to argue about the height above sea level.
Perfect. Okay. I mean, it
So
was a
much for an
bit,
echo chamber.
it was a bit non sequitur, and it was just a point of factual correctness that John dropped in there, but it wasn't necessarily helpful. Okay. But he was correct.
But let's not miss the fact that we have two different videos claiming it was done, one by the seashore, the other one up there 642 miles. So when we say we don't even know some of these stories are true, this lends to that.
30 meters. I now need only one more measurement to get the size of the Earth. And to
Oh, let's hope they don't violate all of the other measurements you just took.
get that, I have to climb to the top of the mountain.
The one you just measured the height off a flat baseline. Gotcha.
What Biruni did next was measure the angle of the line of sight to the horizon.
Okay. The one that was presumably used on the lake that you described because you weren't at sea level to ascertain a horizontal baseline to get the height. That horizon. Cool. Gotcha.
No,
Big ass lake.
No, not that. Not that. He's using the horizon he couldn't see because of the mountains in the way.
Okay.
Below the horizontal.
Below the horizontal? Hold on a second. You just measured the horizontal to establish height. Now you're saying you can see below what you just walked along? That makes no sense. How can you be below the horizontal, the one you established as a baseline to get height? You can't be below the horizontal. What's he talking about? John, would it be that he's talking about a dip to a geometric horizon that's below surface level in the geometric maths that follows this assumption by Biruni? Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah. He's drawing a line through the surface of Earth to a point that doesn't exist.
I see. Let's just hear him say that again. Let's just see exactly how he phrased it on Al-Biruni's behalf, of course.
What Biruni did next was measure the angle of the line of sight to the horizon as it dips below the horizontal.
The line of sight to the horizon as it dips below horizontal. That means you're seeing a line of sight to a horizon below where you can see. It's not a line of sight.
Well, but what he's doing is a dip from the horizontal that's created by the astrolabe on top of the mountain. So it's just a depression angle. He's already established the horizontal baseline using mean sea level to get the height of the mountain. So he can look at the sea horizon that he can't see because it's 600 miles away, and then use the depression angle from the horizontal he'll create on top of the mountain to then reify that into a ball Earth.
I see. So, as John has detailed on numerous shows, he's taking the difference between surface level and eye level to infer that he can see below surface level when looking at the horizon. Right, this is nonsense.
But it's not called a level differential calculator for nothing. Oh, sorry, they don't call it.
They don't call it a level differential calculator, but that's what we ended up with. The Earth curve maths, and I hope John keeps stressing this throughout the time that we're doing these shows, is a differential calculator. It's calculating the difference between eye level, as this gentleman looks out towards the horizon, and surface level. And the dip between the two is what you get an extrapolated Earth curve below surface level in the maths.
So we're going to try and reproduce that. So if you can lift it up so that it's hanging, and if I locate the horizon, okay, which is about 0.5 degree, which is about the value that Biruni got. Now here's the really ingenious part. Biruni had measured 4 quantities, 3 angles and a distance. He used 2 of the angles and the distance to work out the height of the mountain.
On a flat plane? Why cut to a picture of a globe Earth in space? This is a second law of thermodynamics violation. If this black area is 10 to the minus 17 Torr vacuum, all of these clouds and high pressure gas would just escape into this very high vacuum. So, no, definitely not. I don't know why you've cut to this, but you've just described the 3 angles, 2 of which were taken off a flat plane to get the height.
Al-Biruni now had everything he needed. In essence, Al-Biruni imagined a huge right-angled triangle, which has as its 3 corners the mountaintop, the horizon, and the center of the Earth.
But you've taken a dip.
Right angle.
Yeah. How's that geometric horizon working out for you guys who talk about dip corrections when in debate about celestial navigation? What's that? You can correct for it being a straight line, but all of your lines are bent. They're all refracted. Why is it no Atmo day? Yet meanwhile, Al-Biruni's just violated the first 2 measurements because the first measurement to take this here from surface level to the point at the top of the mountain, that's h, height. He did it off a flat plane he showed you earlier. In fact, let's bring that up on screen right now so we can compare and contrast how different these 2 images are. Notice how the right angle triangle in this image appears at the base of the mountain, and extending out, if the story is to be true, to sea level would be 600 miles plus. So we've got 600 miles of flat, level Earth between sea level and the base of the mountain, according to the first 2 calculations taken by Al-Biruni, to get the height with trig. Okay. Why is it that when we then cut back to the picture of his extrapolation thereafter, the ground below him that he just utilised 600 miles of flat is now bending away from him? Why is that? When all he's done is taken a differential between the surface level that he used to get the height and eye level at half a degree. To extrapolate out that the curved surface was what you used to get the triangles for the height? No, this is nonsense. Total nonsense.
No, it just proves that when he says to the center of the Earth that it's all coming from the equatorial plane, which is the flat surface we live on. Globe is surplus to requirement.
Indeed. Is there anything else in this particular video that we need? I think we've got the full bulk of
No, this one's done. Go back to the first one because that guy's got it 642 miles away from where this guy did his. This is what's beautiful about the story. It keeps changing, and then they don't even know what right angle triangles are because they got to somehow squish it in on the surface of the globe where you can't get an elevation angle or 90 degrees or perpendicular or horizontal.
Which is basically a giant protractor with angles and degrees and a pointer to determine his line of sight. Now he had enough information to measure the height of the mountain using trigonometry and algebra. He needed only one more measurement to get the size of the Earth. Angle of the line of sight of the horizon as it dips below the horizontal. Now here's...
Sorry, dips below the horizontal, the one that was used to establish a flat baseline for the 2 triangles to get the height. You can't look below the horizontal if the horizontal is surface level. You're describing something nonsensical. Seeing below surface level.
He's talking about the horizontal made with the astrolabe at the top of the mountain.
Yeah,
it's
the
back
dip is
to reification.
Exactly. The dip is from the horizontal you establish with your eye line. So when he says, oh, it's half a degree, what, from your eye line down? Yeah, down to surface level is half a degree. But you then extrapolate that into meaning you can see below the surface level used to ascertain flat baselines for triangles. Makes no sense. It's stupid.
Well, what he's doing is he's measuring the dip below the horizontal he's made at the top of the mountain. But what the guy is not mentioning is that there's a second horizontal that was made originally, and that's at mean sea level to the base of the mountain. He's not telling you that he's measuring the dip between 2 horizontals, 2 parallels. That's what he's not telling you. He's only telling you about one horizontal.
Yeah, so he's inferring that the eye line horizontal is somehow the same as the ground level horizontal, when you take a dip to the Earth curve that's fallen away from the ground level you were standing on at the base of the mountain? No. You've just taken a dip from the horizon, which was representing the ground meeting your limitations of view, to you at altitude and the dip thereof. Well, that's, as Brian's just detailed, and John details on almost every other show, that's a differential between two horizontal planes, eye level and surface level. How do we know? Well, because it's a straight line angle to it. It can't be anything else. You can't do this, by the way, Globers, in 2023. You don't have any straight lines to do it with.
Part. Al-Biruni imagined the mountain as a large right-angled triangle, which has three corners: the mountaintop, the horizon, and the center of the earth.
Why? When he just literally is bastardizing his original assertion, as shown in the other video, where this line here ran out, what, 600 miles? So that you could have a right angle at the base of the mountain. Where's that right angle gone now? Yeah, you notice how the right angle, again, we'll bring up both of the depictions. The right angle used to be at the base of this mountain. Why isn't it there anymore? Oh, because now, from the base of the mountain curves away at 8 inches per the mile squared. It's no longer a baseline. It no longer has a 90 degree in this extrapolation once he goes up the mountain. I mean, it's not like we used to have exactly that at the bottom of the mountain, a 90 degree with a flat baseline at sea level. Oh, we did, only until he climbed up the mountain, then he got amnesia and just forgot about establishing horizontal baselines that are then vanished from all existence in this diagram. Where's the 90 gone? Oh, the 90? Oh, well, that's a different 90 now. Now it's 90 at sea. Let's just bring up a clearer diagram of that. So at sea, we've got a square there. Why has it moved? Why is it that we now have a box representing 90 degrees at tangent to a sphere where it was formerly at B, representative of the flat plane that you needed to do the trig to get the height of the mountain? Why has this box moved? Why? I'll tell you why. Because you've used a differential calculator between two flat planes to then move out to that dip below surface level, that would be here, to a geometric horizon. It's just absurd, the fact that people have believed this for so long. Or the fact that mathematicians haven't recognised it when they're disseminating it, like in these videos. Why aren't they recognising it?
Using trigonometry, Al-Biruni figured out that the angle of the horizon and the height of the mountain were related to the radius of the Earth.
Well, why didn't he recognise that when he was measuring the height of it in the first instance? So he didn't recognise that it was in relation to a non-90 degree at the bottom of the base of the mountain when he was measuring its height. But when he got up the top, he suddenly recognised that that 90 wasn't there anymore. It was actually a tangent point to a sphere. Bollocks.
You can't use trigonometry twice. Sorry, I thought you were finished. Yeah, you can't use trigonometry twice and come up with a sphere. You can't use trigonometry to gain your height to a mountain 600 miles away from mean sea level, because you'd have to know its height above mean sea level using trigonometry, using what's known as rise over run, which is horizontals and verticals. So you'd have to know all that to even do what he did, and then he's going to use trigonometry a second time. How do loads of triangles make up a sphere? They don't.
And algebra helped him calculate it. This was the formula that allowed Al-Biruni to calculate the circumference of the Earth, which, by the way, is within 200 miles of the value that we know of it to be today.
How do we get that? For it to be within a certain measurement, we'd need to see that measurement. We don't have that. So this assertion that every dick that makes the Al-Biruni claim uses, oh, well, he was in 5% of the actual measurement. He was in 1% of the actual measurement. Where's the actual measurement then? Why are we referencing Al-Biruni at all if there's an actual measurement as opposed to a calculation? We wouldn't even be referencing this if that was the case, for him to be within 5% of it.
About 25,000 miles. That is an accuracy of 99%.
So within 1% of what? Show it me. Show me the actual measurement that he was within 1% of. Can you show me that? Is this just going to be a baseless assertion like every dick who asserts Al-Biruni's measured the circumference and radial value of Earth?
And that too when it was measured almost 1,000 years ago. Let that
Measured? It wasn't measured. This is an extrapolation. It's a calculation.
sink in. The Nandana complex comprises of a fort, a temple,
Okay, that's it.
and
Okay.
Oh,
That's-
it's sunk in already.
So this was a tourism video, and he's saying, come and visit the place it happened. We showed the other video where it was by a beach. So we got conflict here. Now let's go to the second video for today.
You mean third?
Well, yes, but second in the list that I sent you.
Okay. You're gonna need to give me a bit more warning than that. I can't just.
Well, this is a guy redoing the whole story, and he does many things on this subject. He's going to do one with Fermat's principle later on in the week, and Eratosthenes later on in the week. So let's go to this YouTuber who's going to now give his opinion on what we just heard from these two guys.
Measuring the size of Earth. How to measure Earth's radius. Is that right?
It's the second one on the list I sent you.
Yeah, I got that the first time you said it. Is it called How to Measure Earth's Radius?
Yes, that's what's written on it. I have to go back and look at it.
For more physics-related videos, please subscribe. In this video, we will go over Al-Biruni's method for measuring the radius of the Earth. I've rated the physics level in this video as easiest. Now, previously, I posted a video on Eratosthenes' method, which was the first ever measurement of the size of the Earth.
This isn't physics, numpty. Physics almanac.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, that's a good point. So
He's rated as easiest. Sorry.
this is a physics almanac. So as with all of these, we've done 3 today. So hopefully you have actually done this. My audience I'm speaking to now. As with always, there's a link going by in the chat. Now, the only reason I'm sharing the algorithmic love with any of these people is because I want them to respond and put my link in their video and say, no, Nathan's wrong because of this. Here's a link to his video. Go and subscribe, like I'm doing to them. So go and let Physics Almanac know. Covering some very small YouTubers today, that's fine. Nathan Oakley, or at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. If you could do that now, we will, hope we'll still be here when you come back. We won't end the live stream. But it's whizzing by in the live stream chat. If you can click on it, if you're watching live, there's over 100 people here. Just let me know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. We responded to your video in regards to Al-Biruni.
And it basically consisted of 3 steps. First, you pick 2 locations that have the same longitude. Then you measure the change in latitude between those 2 locations by measuring the difference in altitude of some celestial object.
What?
Like the sun or a star or something. And finally, you measure the physical distance between the 2 locations.
You need a flat plate for all. Hold on a second.
He's talking about Eratosthenes here, not Al-Biruni.
Okay.
He's just.
And it basically consisted of 3 steps. First, you pick 2 locations that have the same longitude. Then you measure the change in latitude between those 2 locations by measuring the difference in altitude of some celestial object, like the sun or a star or something.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. You couldn't pick 2 locations that have the same longitude if you don't know if the longitude and latitude grid didn't even exist yet, because you haven't measured it. If you've measured the latitude and longitude grid, you won't be looking to see if it's a globe because you'd know it's flat.
I was kind of thinking that too. I was like, where isn't he trying to get the radius? How did he already get longitude and latitude? Like,
exactly. How would you have that?
And finally, you measure the physical distance between the 2 locations. And with these 3 pieces of information, you can measure the radius or the circumference of the Earth.
Yeah, if he has longitude, Nathan, he won't need to measure the distance between the 2 locations because it's already measured.
Already on the grid.
He's giving himself away because if you have longitude, you have latitude.
So this is the grid that Fight the Flat Earth is terrified of for some reason. Well, because it proves Earth's flat. But ultimately speaking, what we're describing is elevation angle measurements to stars to lay out a grid system. Well, once you've got that grid system, you've already got everything you need. So this guy's description not only requires a flat Earth to do, but is redundant. It's
Now, this method is pretty simple, but it has one flaw, which is this third step here, because how accurately could you really measure the distance between these two locations? Especially considering that you don't want the distance on ground, you want the distance as the crow flies. So you need a
I know
long,
how he
flat
did it.
expanse of land that stretches.
Go on.
I know how he did that number 3 step.
Google
Some serious pipe hitting surveyors.
Which is probably at least 60 miles or 100 miles or so. Because if you have any hills or mountains that you have to climb over or around, it's not going to translate to the correct distance.
What if you could do SEO?
He's just destroying
Al-Biruni's method circumvents this.
All right, go ahead.
He keeps destroying himself. Because the method he's now going to employ will involve a solar noon and an elevation angle to the sun. The only way you would be able to know that, like he's saying, because of mountains and hills and valleys, we wouldn't know the exact distance in a straight line. But because he's going to use the sun and an angle to it, an elevation angle to it, the only way you would know that let's say that the 7.24 zenith angle he'll get from that will give you a correct distance to the well in Cyan would be if you already know that these things are possible with the celestial bodies. The whole thing will be absolutely pointless. It'd be like me measuring my whole way after just like with a tape measure or with a laser measure or something, and saying that's not even a good analogy. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense. If you already know you can do this with the sun, and you can do this with the other celestials, because you were going to know you can do it with all the celestials if you can do it with the sun, then why are you at? This makes no sense whatsoever. Do you understand what I mean? Do you understand the point I'm making?
Yeah.
He's pivoting
It's illogical.
on it. He's pivoting from Eratosthenes. He's about to go to Al-Biruni. He has a separate video on Eratosthenes. Why he starts it off here, I don't know, but let's move on to Al-Biruni.
This problem. In fact, supposedly he came up with this method precisely because he didn't want to have to deal with walking hundreds of miles across the desert in order to measure it. So, a little background on this guy. He lived around the turn of the 11th century. He was born in the city of Kath in modern-day Uzbekistan, which today is called Biruni, renamed after him. He carried out his experiment, however, in modern-day Pakistan. So let's take a look at this method.
Not an experiment.
First thing you're going to
It's not an experiment.
need to do is measure the height of a mountain. But not just any mountain. You need a mountain that's overlooking a flat expanse of land.
Is that right?
Good.
Really? It needs to overlook a flat expanse of land. Let's just hear him say that again.
Take a look at this method. First thing you're going to need to do is measure the height of a mountain. But not just any mountain. You need a mountain that's overlooking a flat expanse of land, and more precisely, you have to be able to see the horizon.
Just for the globe believers, just in case you didn't understand, this guy has made it really clear. He's written the word flat and then drawn a circle around the flat bit. Can you all see how flat it must be for Al-Biruni to measure the height of the mountain? Are we all clear? Yeah?
Yeah, not only with that, but where's the sea level at?
That's what I was getting ready to say. This is a non sequitur that we were talking about earlier.
We have some continuity errors.
Yes, there's definitely a few continuity errors in the storytelling, but we can't necessarily ascribe that to Al-Biruni's methodology, more than narration of these videographers.
So if you got any mountains or hills in the way, that's not going to work.
Oh, shit.
Okay, now that we have our mountain, how do we measure it? So first what you're going to do is you're going to stand back some distance d from the base of the mountain, or I should say from the base of the axis of the mountain. You don't actually need to know what this distance is, so you just stand and look at the mountain. and then you measure the angle above the horizontal that your line of sight makes to the top of the mountain.
Your
Okay, what?
angle above horizontal. Globe believers in the audience, are you writing this down?
We're going to call
remember,
this
he rates this physics level easiest.
Egypt.
No, easiest. Remember, he said he rates this physics level as easiest. Remember, he said that at the start.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
I
so
agree.
it's,
I
so
agree
for
with
all,
that.
it's nice and easy for you globe believing Muppets to understand how flat Earth must be. Okay.
Angle alpha. Then you walk back some distance L. This time you measure this distance. And again, you measure the angle to the top of the mountain, which we're going to call beta. Now look, the ground is perpendicular to the axis of the mountain, so that
means it's flat.
Yes.
This is great, son. What a great choice of video. I love it when they lay it out the way it is.
means we have two right triangles here.
Right triangles. Flat all the way. Gotcha. Flat Earth.
A lot of confessions.
First, we have this big right triangle that has a height of h and a base of L plus d. And if you remember your trigonometry, opposite over adjacent is the tangent of the angle. So here we're going to have that the tangent of beta is h over L plus d.
So where's the curved ground in all of this then? So Al-Biruni's trying to measure the circumference and radius value of Earth. Where the hell's the curved surface in all of this? None of this is curved. Has he missed this?
You can't do trigonometry if one of your side lengths is curved, can you?
Nope.
No one is claiming the ground underneath the mountain is curved.
Well, Highlander does.
Who is it that said that? Who is it that said that, John?
Highlander.
Highlander.
Nobody's claiming the ground under the mountain's curving. You are actually claiming the ground under the mountain is curving. When I showed earlier the repositioning of this 90 degree at the base of the mountain for him to have a nice flat Earth to measure its height, that 90 moved to the tangent point of your sphere Earth you fantasize you believe on. Right? Yeah? So why isn't the ground curving? That stands. Every dick that thinks they're on a sphere from here forth must answer this question. Why isn't the ground curving here? That's your claim. Yes, because it's flat. Earth's flat. It's measured flat. It's navigated flat. It's obviously and observably flat. It's utilised as flat. It's a prerequisite for this measurement that it's flat. Earth's flat.
Which I'm going to rewrite as h divided by tan beta equals d plus L. Now, we do the same thing for this smaller triangle that
the d plus L are both flat baselines. I wonder where they'll go in a minute.
Uses angle alpha, and we have that the tangent is h over d, which again I'm going to rewrite as h over tan alpha equals d. Now recall, I don't know what d is, so let's subtract these two equations in order to get rid of it. And this is going to give us h over tan beta minus h over tan alpha equals L.
There's a lot of flat Earth in that maths, isn't there?
1 over tangent is cotangent, so this can be rewritten as h times cotangent of beta minus h times cotangent of alpha equals L. I can pull out an h from the left side of the equation as it's a common factor. If this is the Earth with the mountain on top of it, and the Earth has a radius r, if I climb to the top of the mountain and look at the horizon, then my line of sight will be tangent to the Earth at that point.
Whoa.
Oh, what? Yeah. If the Earth has a radius, where is that coming from?
Word.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're trying to figure out?
Yeah.
Look, we can't knock the continuity errors from the videographers, right?
No, it's right. That is correct in a geometric sense. If you accept that the horizon is the leading edge of a ball, and the point of your wobbly, curving line of sight intersecting with the horizon that you assume is a ball would actually be a tangent at that point from a geometric consideration, if it was a ball and if the horizon was the leading edge of that ball. We know that's not the case, but I think from a geometry point,
But doesn't he have to prove that first?
No, because it's the premise of the assumption within the geometry. So the geometry is not to fault, but can you apply that geometry to reality? No. But the actual geometry is fair enough. It's the logic sound, isn't it?
Right, but
if you ignore
John first.
Yeah,
Go on, John.
You can't use the measurements that you just utilized to establish height and all those other things. You can't use that with that.
Exactly. Where's the 90 gone? Where's the 90? Where's the 90 at the base of the mountain? It's gone, hasn't it? When I asked earlier, where's the curving ground? Now the ground's curving. Has anybody noticed that where I asked why isn't the ground curving, now it is, and we don't have a 90 here anymore? So when John says the maths you just used doesn't work with this, yeah, absolutely, because we've relinquished this 90, and in a second it will reappear somewhere else.
And I can measure this angle below the horizontal, which I'm going to call theta. Al-Biruni then says, if I draw a radius to the horizon, then it will be perpendicular with my...
Oh, what's that little box that's appeared at a tangent? Why is there now a box moved from the base of the mountain to a tangent point below surface level that can't be seen? We don't have a line of sight to below surface level.
I will say that you can do what he's doing in your kitchen and turn your kitchen into a sphere using this same methodology.
As in, you can measure everything in your kitchen using right-angled triangles and then take a dip to the curved horizon.
No.
You can take a differential. You can take a differential to surface level. Sorry, go on, John. I'm taking your thunder because it's so good.
John.
Hold on, let John just say it once. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, you can do everything he's doing now using where your wall meets your floor as your horizon and calculate the sphericity of your kitchen's floor.
Wow. Yeah, but that's what I was going to ask you, John. When you calculate how curved your kitchen floor, what do you not have to make the assumption that the kitchen floor is flat first?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, remember when we was playing with numbers? Yeah.
You don't have to assume it's flat. The people who made that floor made it flat. That's how you make shit.
Yeah, all I'm hearing is there's no flat surfaces on a curve.
No, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you measure your kitchen floor horizontal using right-angled triangles, and then you pre-assume that it's curved.
And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Though, unfortunately, if you are watching live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, hit the PayPal link, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you are watching on either the Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Different Al-Biruni stories.
Exactly. We need to have another union meeting.
There's never a good time to end the show, is there?
You moaning that I've rounded out after an extra half an hour of live streaming? You're telling me that's not good enough?
No, because when you do that,
video.
hold on. When you do that, you cheat us out of,
I don't like this. I don't like it at all. Why is it that no matter what I do with how the show gets done, I'm being accused of cheating people and conning them out of stuff? No.
I'll tell you why. You asked me to line up your videos, and then you don't do them right in the sense of start and finish. So then the other ones that are set to follow cannot happen in a good way. So you got to finish the videos because they're all short and can be finished. Unless I give you a long one and say, do this over 3 days, you got to finish.
Yeah, you got to create digestible YouTube content. That's my focus.
It was hot. Yeah, it was a hot. We had great discussion, and we got 3 different Al-Biruni stories about to happen.
Okay, I think the best way we can focus on this moving forward through the after show is you all moan at me. That's probably the best way we can get this done.
Well, I'm going to be honest now. If I was an audience member there, instead of saying that show was brilliant, I'd be like, the Oakley show cut off the show early again. That's what I'd be saying. Be giving out. Because even there's more of that video to listen to.
Even though he went a half hour later.
think it was Brian that said it last week or something. It doesn't. We could have an 8-hour show. As soon as Nathan cuts it off, we'll all still be mad.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a fact. You know what's funny? The other day I was watching one of the shows, the re-ups that he does, and when you went into your little spiel at the end of your show, you could see all our lights flashing. When you see that, Nathan, we're ripping you apart.
And I don't like the idea of attacking Nathan unless Quantum Eraser can cuss. So.
Really good. I'm pleased to hear it.
But now
that's a
what do we do,
testament to the
Nathan?
show.
Are we going to? Now what do we do, Nathan? Are we going to play on the rest of the video? I mean, I think that you stops it like that to try and stop us being interested in the video and stop the video playing for us to respond to. So you're trying to wind things down and leave work early. That's what I think is going on.
Oh, I see what you're saying, Brian. Definitely going to have
Yeah.
a reunion meeting.
I think that's wonderful. You're all great.
Can we finish the show now so I could give you a new one tomorrow?
You want to round out now? You don't want after show? I mean, with that.
I've not had a moan yet.
No, finish the video. Come on, don't change my words.
Okay, right. I'll step away for a minute. You all free to moan. I'm going to step away.
Brilliant. Right. So we was chatting in text last night because I'm just sick of this. I think what we should do, stop the show. 'Cause I'm sick of the computer blowing up. I say we rebuild the computer, start a GoFundMe, and don't do this until it's all fixed and working properly. And we've tested it again. Because I don't like those disappointing afternoons where they end early. Is that possible that we can get the PC fixed first before doing any more shows? This was Alwyn's idea, not mine.
So wait, you're saying no
Brian
shows
came up with that
until
a
we
week
get a
ago.
perfect computer?
I think it's bad for the production standards if we keep dropping the show. We should get things perfect and then.
I don't know. I just think that, Nate needs a change of attitude, really. That's what I think.
So wait a second, Adam. You're saying no shows at all until we got a computer that's fully functional.
I'm just trying to wind Neil and Arwin up because.
Oh, okay.
I just want to say I agree with all of you, and I think you're all ace. Thank you.
I think he says that whenever he's just not paying attention, like walking in and out of the room,
So you're going to finish the video, Nathan? Or we're
It's gone
moving
for
it to
coffee.
tomorrow?
It's gone for coffee while we critique him.
Yeah, you're right. Doesn't give a mocha.
No,
Yeah,
but
Adam, since
Bring
this
back
is
Lite.
done, yeah, Real Madrid today. You going to watch it?
Oh God, yes, mate. Yeah, good.
Whoa.
That's
Hold on a second. No.
We need to get back on track.
Look, I've got to step in.
Hello.
Hello. You can hear me. No. Real Madrid versus whoever. No. That's. You just moaned that I've rounded out a show on a high note that you all wanted to continue. Now that high note doesn't depend on talking about football, now does it? Let's be honest. I had to run back in to stop this.
That was
Why can't we just finish the video?
Yeah, well, that was on purpose to first see if you were getting coffee, which you weren't. Number two was, why can't we finish the video?
line
Knowing
of
that
sight.
if I started
And now I've
talking
created
football,
a right triangle, which has a base of r and a hypotenuse of r plus h. And the angle between the two I'm going to call phi. But look, the horizontal is 90 degrees to the axis of the mountain. And so the angle between my line...
No. The horizontal was formerly the baseline that gave you 90 degree at the base of the mountain, not at the tangent point horizon. You've done the old switcheroo, haven't you? The one that we point out that takes a 90 degree at the base and moves it to the tangent point. Yeah, that's going to be a big problem.
Pulled the matchstick man, Nathan.
Pardon?
He pulled a matchstick man. He did a bait and switch there.
He did. Al-Biruni did a bait and switch. You thought you had a tangent. You thought you had a baseline that was flat, didn't you? No. 90 degree to the tangent from height at mountain. Obviously, different suitcase.
Axis of the mountain is just 90 minus theta. But that's also the third angle in my right triangle, so it's also 90 minus phi, and therefore angle phi is just theta that I've measured.
So what happened to the other triangles? I mean, what used to look like a triangle. It's now got this weird bent base to it. Check out how distorted the triangle is now. I mean, it wasn't like that before, was it? But now it's like all bent. That's not a triangle anymore. I mean, it was when you got the height, but now it ain't. Now you can't get an angle from it. It's weird that, and when you bend a line, it stops being an angle. Yeah? I'll just ask some of my audience members, hey Toon, hey Roofy, hey Phil Bell, how's that geometric horizon working out for you?
Now recall that cosine of an angle is adjacent over hypotenuse, and so that means that I have that r over r plus h equals cosine theta.
R-D-R-R.
I can multiply both sides by r plus h, and then bring all the r terms to one side, and then divide by 1 minus cosine theta to get that the radius of the Earth is 8 at top and bottom. See it, then this, and I actually don't know what the height of his mountain was. But whatever it was, he came in and measured the angle of his line of sight to be 34 arc minutes, and I actually don't know what the height of his mountain was. But whatever it was, he came up with the radius of the Earth being just under 13 million cubits. 1 cubit is somewhere between 46 to 56 centimeters. And
because
we don't really know because that's debated among historians. This was a problem.
If we don't know that, how can they say it's within 1%?
Exactly.
I mean,
it could be 1%, or it could be 99% it was out, because we don't know the conversion rate between a mile and a cubit, really.
Yeah, I mean, a cubit, it could be a centimetre, but it could be a foot. I mean, we don't really know, but he got within 1%. We know that.
Did he just say that he used the height of the mountain he doesn't know to get the radius?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what they did was they measured flat Earth elevation angles to Polaris, and then after that they turned that into their measurements. They curved their measurements and made a 21,600 nautical mile ball or circle after that.
Okay,
then
just
they
1 second.
got the nautical mile radius of that. Then they converted that nautical mile radius to a 3959 statute mile radius.
Yes, sir.
Do I have Neil and Tenth's permission to perhaps hydrate and urinate and things like that? Is that okay? Can you talk amongst yourselves for a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, get out of here.
Don't forget the hall pass before you go.
Right, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. I just want to say,
yes, Brian.
I agree with all of you, and you are all ace.
Yeah, get out of here.
Brian is exactly right. That's exactly what they did. And then they, post hoc, made up these horseshit stories of Eratosthenes and Al-Biruni, because I'll tell you what, this is one of the biggest clusterfucks that I've ever witnessed. You got evolution over in the corner belly laughing over this shit. I'll tell you that.
Wow.
So evolution made them a monkey's uncle.
So if evolution is belly laughing, how bad is this?
It's pretty bad when the guy said they used a grid that they didn't have to get a radius that they didn't have to also use the height of a mountain they didn't have to get the radius that they didn't have.
But don't they?
It's worse than that, boy. It's worse than that, isn't it? To not do that, to get the radius in cubits, to use a conversion rate they don't know to show that it's within 1% of modern calculations, measurements, no, calculations. Yeah? It's that last line he just gave just undermined everything. Because if you don't know what the conversion is, how can you claim you're within 1% of the distance in miles?
Exactly.
It's worse than that. Because they referred to that to come up with their current number. They refer to the thing that they don't know about. That it's in 1%, that's within 1% of the actual value that's based on the thing they don't know about.
Well, they have to start with the conclusion in mind that they live on a globe with a radius of 3959. Then they've got to patch up these stories and make them appear in the past to kind of say this is the this is how they found out, and give names and dates, and then all of a sudden you get 3 versions of it, and you say, what the heck is going on here?
You know, all 3 versions had them using a flat plane to get the measurements. So
that's true.
That's correct.
No, they already had those measurements. It's called the latitude and longitude grid. They already had them all already. It was just a case of, pretending that they didn't have that, while also saying they use it.
Can you imagine Eratosthenes?
Was he talking about Aristophanes when he said?
Yeah.
When he mentioned the grid.
Yeah.
So not Al-Biruni. Aristophanes. The grid was already around before Aristophanes, according to this guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, I always said these stories were suspect.
Well, he's got one on Eratosthenes, which I'll put tomorrow. So he will go back to he had just finished the Eratosthenes ones that I watched, and now he's doing Al-Biruni. And he's saying, well, Eratosthenes, so he kind of blends them at the beginning of this video, but now obviously we're going to listen to his full Eratosthenes one tomorrow, if Nathan finishes today.
Had with Eratosthenes measurements as well. So converting this to kilometers, we get that he measured the radius of the Earth to be somewhere between about 6,000 to 7,000 kilometers. Modern measurements of the Earth give an average radius of 6,372 kilometers.
Will that be a baseless?
Haven't we there?
Will that be a baseless assertion?
There's no measurements. If somebody else said it, but if we've got measurements, we don't need to go back in time to highlight the measurements that we don't have a conversion rate for. If we've already got measurements, because this is supposed to be the proof of the R value. So to me, it's a falsehood again. We're not admitting we don't have measurements. We're trying to validate this guy, pretending we've got measurements, which negates the point in using them as a validation for our R value.
It seems to me that the only circle that Lobers have is the circle of invalidity.
they have circular arguments too, Brian. You got to give them that.
Well, that's what it is. Everything comes around in a circle of being invalid, the invalid circle, invalidity. You know, because there's no validity for any of this. What they say is a 1%. Within the 1%, like that 1% value is based on that. Do you know what I mean? And that's based on nothing. That's based on right-angled triangles. That's what that's based on. They even admit it.
Well, I hear when you
crazy.
All I hear when you say that is what's his name that used to come in here. Remember him that used to always come in with the he got within 1%. Rumpus and the other guy.
Rumpus
too.
would say 5% though.
Who's the guy that has the hurricanes going in a straight line?
Osho.
Osho used to come in here with that all the time. The guy was in 1%.
Well, I'm willing to accept that the spherical radius of a flat plane is measured within 1% of the current value. Why not? If you're going to be stupid, you might as well go full bore.
Nobody's claiming that we can see physical geometry.
Excuse me, Nathan, I got a question for you. Hey, what's up, guys? I got a question. If it's not going to cause any harm to you technologically, and I'm pretty sure somebody might have asked this before, I'm just asking for the first time, is there any way possible, because I can, granted, I can hear everything y'all are saying, I can hear the videographer, narrator speaking, everything like that, but there's any way that on your particular server, Nathan, instead of just seeing the blue thing with the little robot face, like sometimes when QE or somebody shows something on their server, that you can show at least the video that you guys are discussing to see the graphics y'all are criticizing, or if y'all are looking at that as an example when y'all talk about the baseline and all of these things like this. Is that possible?
Is D-Rose having a dig at Nathan now? Go on.
Yeah.
You gotta put on YouTube. You gotta watch it on YouTube. That's what I do.
I got you.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, so I can interact to see what y'all are talking about. Why, but no, it's so big. I don't want to strain the computer by implementing something else that causes you to shut down.
That's mighty wide of you.
That's strain the computer. We're trying to get Nathan to not end the show so that you could see these things.
Yeah, 24 hours.
And by the way, we can't see them either in here after he ends the show, the live show.
Got you. Okay. Well then, okay. I thought you guys are seeing it and everybody on the outside of that server. Okay, got you. Never mind then. Carry on. I like the audio. I can hear it. I can tell what y'all talking.
Just think of the after show as a double blind test. That's all.
There you go. All right, carry on. All right.
Yeah, but they explain things so well you could picture it in your mind. The panel is ace.
Thanks, Ian.
Nathan, hit play.
Now
he could be crying. He might be crying. He's after getting a lot of abuse. It could be tears.
He don't even know what's going to happen when a union meeting starts when he leaves.
Wow, D-Rose came in and did the final blow.
Hit play, Nathan.
How about that Man United? I'll get one.
What?
How about that Man United? That'll get his attention. He'll be back soon.
Oh yeah, back to football. So Adam.
Whoa, what's going on? What's going on?
I was gonna say, talk about the ice wall. That'll bring him back.
What day it is today? It's my dad's 80th
Nathan, did you
birthday
not hear
today.
what I was asking?
Hold on.
Was you there? Were you present or you walked away?
Hello. It's my dad's 80th birthday today.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
Happy born day.
Happy
wow.
birthday, Mr. Oakley.
Happy birthday, Pops.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, his name's
So
David.
Nathan Oakley, 1980, has a dad at 80.
Nice.
I do.
Yeah. So he took the scripture serious when he said, if your strength be strong, 80.
Yeah, David Oakley, he's 80 today.
That's cool. That's what's up.
Yeah, that's why I ducked away, actually.
You
I
got something going for him?
just wanted to ring him and say happy birthday, because he's
Oh,
getting
so you
old,
didn't hear what I was asking.
What did you ask?
I didn't think you did. Well, they answered for you. Q explained to me that they don't see the video that you guys are critiquing as much as I can or anybody else. And I was asking, without causing a technical issue, you shutting down and your computer burning up or whatever, is it possible that instead of us seeing your blue little avatar thing, and you put the video up like other people do when they have something like QE did that during his quantum
But people
quantity racing
about
video.
to press watch stream in this.
I mean, yeah, I watch it. I do watch it
You're
after. I'm
looking for
talking
that
about
bit of video.
interaction live while you're doing it, while we're here talking, so I can see what y'all talking about. But the audio is good as well. I can tell what the guy's saying, and I can hear what you guys are saying. But that's cool. But I just didn't know if you could do that, and I don't want you to do that if it's going to cause technical difficulties.
I think it's an outrage that you've even asked. But there we go.
YouTube lags behind a little bit.
Worried about your fragile computer.
I mean, I get a bit stroppy and funny with Paul when he asks me to do things, and he gives me literally thousands of pounds. So I don't know. This just seems like a bit of an outrage.
Yeah, that was
What is good to know.
I got to tell you.
It seems like
Hold
an
on.
outrage.
Neil wants to tell me how disrespectful I am to one of my contributors. Go ahead, Neil.
That was terrible that day, Nathan. I was cringing. All the guy was asking you.
Can't change what I am, even if you're really generous to me.
Yeah. I know. I did tell that later, say that's Nathan, man. So you just got to deal with that.
If
You don't change.
If you don't hit play, I'm gonna start talking football.
Press play on what? The video we're covering.
Yeah, let's finish.
I say
it.
average because the Earth is not a perfect sphere, and the radius is a little shorter at the poles than it is at the equator. This means that Al-Biruni's result was somewhere between 8% shorter to 12.5% longer than the average modern measurement.
I mean, that's not margin of error. You know what I mean? 10%. What? That's massive. Ugh. I mean, meanwhile, he's already disclaimed he doesn't know what a qubit is. I mean, what the hell is this?
12% longer would be quite a lot. If you think about the length of his hypotenuse, it'd be quite a lot. 12%.
Yeah, but 12% shorter is also fine. I mean, that's fine.
Not for her.
Boom.
Whatever the actual measurement was, clearly his method is superior to Eratosthenes.
What? He was wrong. He didn't
Actual measurement.
Not a measurement at all. So far, this guy's compared it to the modern measurement and hasn't given us that either, right?
First off, it's more practical as you can do it in one place and you don't have to worry about measuring the distance between two cities that could be hundreds of miles apart.
On a flat plane.
All you got to do is hike up a mountain, which doesn't even have to be very high.
So, you know, crossing state lines, very hard. Hiking up a mountain, piece of piss. Is that what you're saying? Is this your logic?
More importantly, it's more accurate, as you can measure the height of the mountain and the angle theta very precisely.
Off a flat plane?
But actually, there's a problem with this method.
Oh, here it comes.
First off, how do you know that the land that you're looking over when you're looking at the horizon is actually flat? Or I should...
Because it's navigated that way. Because it's measured that way. Because you build on it that way. Because it's apparent and established with the horizon. It's a principle.
No, it's not. Not at all. It's not. If you live on a spinning space ball, yeah, there is not one bit of land that is flat. It's beyond your comprehension to have flat land. All land bends at a rate of 8 inches per mile.
Correct.
But what he's about to say, though, what he's getting at is, I think he's about to, I could be wrong, admit that Al-Biruni couldn't see the sea horizon.
Well,
which completely invalidates.
That might be true moving forward, but at this point, he's saying what we're saying. Now, maybe this is why this guy's only got 603 subscribers for what seems like a fairly nicely animated and reasonably concise, although there is obviously the problems in the methodology that we're highlighting, video about Al-Biruni, right? I mean, I don't know how many views this has had. 511 views in 5 months. Why isn't it much more popular? Well, because perhaps he's going to now address the problem here that we're addressing. We'll see.
Should say, actually level. It could be on a very gradual incline, and you don't need a very tall mountain to see 100 miles out, which even with a gradual incline could result in a significant error in the height of your mountain. So ideally, if you could do this...
Well called, Brian.
Oh, shout out to Brian and Adam.
overlooking water, then you could be sure that it was level. But there's a bigger problem. You see, if this is the Earth and you got a mountain on top of it, the Earth is surrounded by an atmosphere, and that atmosphere is thicker at the surface than it is at higher altitudes.
Sorry, he's going to say that the problem is the bloody atmosphere. I mean, yeah.
Refraction.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, refraction, right?
Yeah. But that isn't the problem. The problem is he's just shown in the diagram a flat ground and said the problem is if the ground is falling away, then that's going to affect the angle. Yeah, okay, reasonable. But with respect to the flat plane, then he draws a diagram of
the height of your mountain
on top of a mountain on top of a spherical Earth. Well, when he draws the mountain on top of the spherical Earth, he says that the problem's the atmosphere when he's just literally eradicated the baseline used to establish the height in the diagram. So now we've got a curved line beneath the mountain, but he's saying the problem's the atmosphere.
And Al-Biruni assumes that when he's
another
looking
point, Nathan, that Brian's highlighted, I think people miss, he's not using a sea horizon. So even if you realise that in his world that that's the leading edge of a ball, it's the leading edge of a ball that's not at sea level. Therefore, you can't draw down to it to get an angle because the angle will be incorrect because it negates the height of the land that's forming the horizon. It has to be, as Brian says, on a sea surface so that you know that the horizon that's forming, if you live on a ball, is the edge of your ball of the R value. It's commensurate to R, not R plus height. I'm quiet.
at the horizon, light is traveling in a straight line from the horizon to his eye. Now, I don't know if he actually thought that, but it's...
Wait a second, stop. Yep. What's that?
That light's traveling in a straight line to his eye.
That's flat earthy, Proofy.
Hey, Toon, you hearing this, Toon? Yeah.
Oh.
But he's also drawn a line that isn't horizontal. He's drawn a line that's angled down. He's drawn a dip to the geometric horizon in the diagram. So he's saying that the horizon has a straight line to it, same horizon that's used to establish horizontal baselines. But that's not what he's drawn on the screen. What he's drawn on the screen is a tangent to a sphere Earth edge.
Not just to tune to Virus. Remember Virus? Yeah, like light traveling straight line to his eye. Okay.
But then he said it's curves.
Brian and me talked about this one time, and they're what they call refraction is actually inflation, and maybe he'll go over it.
It's implicitly assumed in his method. But actually, because the atmosphere is denser at lower elevation, it refracts light. Now, the fact that light bends as it goes from one material...
Oh, he's going to contradict himself. It goes from one material to another, right? Where's that other material in the atmo?
It
He
isn't there.
didn't say that. He didn't even claim the right definition, did he? He said because the same material is denser at the bottom.
Sounds like
Well,
he
he
did
did
a
say-
really sloppy
he's about to say
briefcase
that.
change.
No, if you go back slightly, he's about to say, he just was starting to say exactly what quantum eraser was saying.
to another was already well known, and in fact, Snell's law of refraction was first discovered during Al-Biruni's lifetime by a man named Ibn Saul.
Well, you're going to need two different mediums for Snell's law to apply. Meanwhile, terrestrial refraction, otherwise known as standard refraction, or atmospheric refraction, is based on the radius value that Al-Biruni hasn't even measured yet. Got nothing to do with Snell's law. It's based on R.
So he may have even been aware of it. But in this case, we're not going from one material to another. We're in the same material, it's just the density's changing. So even if he knew about it, he probably wouldn't have thought it applied to his method.
It didn't apply. That's
why
not
bring it up?
refraction, you dumbass cracker.
So why bring it up?
But thanks.
And so it was fair for him to assume that light travels in a straight line.
All right. So it's right for Al-Biruni to just assume that light travels in a straight line until the geometric physical sphere edge limitation, formerly known as the horizon, moves beyond things it's supposed to be obscuring, and then it's okay to assume that it's all refraction, right? So it's just kind of system dependent, circumstance dependent. If you need it to bend, it can bend. If you need it to be straight, it can be straight. It'll all be in Muppet vision, and you'll see the side of your own head standing on a mountain when we draw that straight line. But if it needs to bend, it'll bend. And if it needs to be straight, it'll be straight. Whatever best fits our sphere belief, that's what it'll do.
Well, isn't that
But
what's
actually-
happening on that video you made, Nathan? Where you
Which
got Eli telling him how they were trying to school him. You got one guy saying straight line of sight, and the other guy saying, yeah, it does bend. Right? Isn't that what
Well-
you're talking about?
Technically, what the actual globe claim is a straight line of sight to an horizon that is refracted. So it's the horizon that changes its position, and the eye line stays straight. But when they turn it back into a 3959 board, that then curves the line of sight. That's why you have those diagrams where there's someone's line of sight going around to a point on a sphere that they couldn't see. Well, it's not that. It's what they're doing is uncurving the ball. That's what the whole over 6R thing is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Light
more of
doesn't-
inflation than refraction.
Travel in a straight
Yeah.
line. Light travels according to Fermat's principle, which says that light takes the path of least time. This wouldn't be discovered for a few hundred years.
Wasn't that debunked by quantum mechanics?
Well, hold on. Relativity in his religion says that it has a fixed rate. What is he talking about? Least time. Is he retarded?
So what does this mean for our experiment?
Stay with me. Not an experiment.
Not an experiment.
Well, because the atmosphere is denser at the surface of the Earth, light travels slower there.
What? Atmo
Really?
what now?
Who determined what speed light travels at? Sorry.
I was just going to say, Atmo what now?
And so light would prefer to be at higher elevation where...
Hold on, I'll just ask it. Excuse me. Light. Excuse me, I'm really sorry to interrupt. In terms of elevation, what's your preference? I like to be higher up. Ah, he's right, he's right.
can go faster. It's just like if you're driving from one place to another and you want to get there as fast as possible. It could be that taking surface streets is actually the shortest distance. But you can't drive...
Hold on, sorry to interrupt you, Brian. Someone's trying to get my attention. What's that? What, you need directions? As a light beam? I see. You go left at the high street, straight down, take another right, third left at the roundabout. You be on your way, light beam. Just take that path of least resistance. On you go. Sorry, what was that, Brian?
Yeah, I was just going to say that this guy is referring to the two-way speed of light calculation, because he's just started talking about how light wants to be in a place where it can travel the fastest. That means vacuum, because he's pre-assuming that light travels at a different rate through a vacuum than it does through air. He's pre-assuming that light travels, that it has a rate, and that rate is measured. That's what he's pre-assuming.
Vacuum?
Yeah.
You know, it is entirely possible, but what they mean is space is the space left over on the sheet of paper where they drew their stupid picture.
Drive very fast there, so you're better off going out of your way and getting on the highway where you can drive faster, and the total time of travel will be less, even though the distance was longer.
Sorry, I didn't write that down quick enough. Do you think you can cover it again?
But if the highway is too far away...
He's still on it. I'm glad. Thought he wasn't going to summarize it.
The time you save by driving faster doesn't compensate for the extra time it took just to get to the highway. So similarly with light, even though it wants to be at higher altitude, it doesn't want to deviate too much from the straight line path, as then the time will start to increase again.
It only deviates from a straight line path according to Snell's law if it traverses a different medium, though. And that's not happening.
So the path light will take, instead of being a straight line, will be a special curve in which the time is minimized.
Really? A special kind of curvy light?
A special curve.
Yeah.
Did you hear the graphs?
Magical special curve.
Notice that because of this, the horizon is actually further along the Earth's surface than what Al-Biruni assumes.
I don't see a horizon in this picture, Dumbo. What you've got as a horizon is a tangent point. And that tangent point is a single point along a curve. Have you never seen a horizon? This makes me very annoyed. What's a horizon? Well, it's an expanse of the limitation of your vision that would, if unimpeded, stretch from left to right in the periphery of your vision. That's a horizon. It denotes the limitation of land versus sky, or sea versus sky. That's what it is. That isn't in this picture, though, isn't it? Now, also, you're telling me how light behaves, when light is how I perceive things in my vision, as opposed to a line drawn in an orthographic view which would have you represented at the top of this mountain, seeing the side of your own eyeball and the light that goes away from you when you've also got the target simultaneously in view with the side of your own head. This isn't how light behaves in any way, shape or form, and this is definitely not a horizon. Now, in Earth curve maths, a tangent point might be labelled horizon, but I know what a horizon is. This isn't that. There's nothing that even looks like a horizon in this, so don't tell me how light in Muppet vision, that's orthographic view, meets the horizon. Because this isn't reality. It's nothing like reality. I don't see the side of my own head. I don't see a side view tangent point horizon. I don't see 7,000 miles. None of this makes any sense. It's just stupid.
Now, this isn't actually relevant to the experiment.
It's not an experiment.
The main problem is that the direction you're looking in when you're looking at the horizon is...
You aren't looking at the horizon in this image. You're looking at the side of your own bloody head and the side of a tangent point on a sphere you've assumed, with atmosphere with a dome around it containing the air, so it doesn't escape into this vacuum. Yeah, you've got a very, very long laundry list of problems in this stupid nonsense where you're claiming how light works when you see it side on. Can you show me a light beam side on? Is that a possibility? Can you show me the target, you, and the side of your own eyeball, and the light beam bending, all at the same time? Show me that in reality. You can't. That's because this isn't reality. It's nothing like reality.
It's different from the direction Al-Biruni thinks he's looking in. And so the angle he measures is...
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, what he's doing here is he's going to come back and start telling you about when Al-Biruni was looking at the horizon and how there was problems with that due to refraction, and Al-Biruni, so there was only this percentage out or that percentage out. hoping that you've forgotten that he actually admitted that Al-Biruni, shout out to Quantum Eraser, wouldn't be able to see the sea horizon earlier. Even if he was on a globe, he wouldn't be able to see the sea horizon. So the whole thing is bunk from that point. Well, it was bunk before that, but it's bunk just off of that point alone, because it means nothing from his position. You won't see 600 miles. You just won't see 600 miles. Try seeing 600 miles from an airplane without a infrared filter on your super zoom camera. You won't.
Too small,
You won't be able to
resulting
do
in
that.
him thinking that the Earth is bigger than it actually is. The question is, how big is this error? It could be that this deviation is very small, and so Al-Biruni's method works perfectly well. Answering this question is a little bit more involved and requires some knowledge of calculus, and in particular of something called calculus of variations.
What, the amount that a light beam, when seen side on, and you and your own eyeballs representing the vision you see side on, with the target side on, needs to be better understood with calculus, as opposed to just putting the world in a view that you do actually see, that's a perspective view, and then detailing how your eyes work with light. No, you think it's about calculus. All right. Now, that's because you're into Muppet vision, orthographic view mathematics that don't represent the world in terms of how we see it. Doesn't even have a horizon. You think a horizon's a tangent point in Muppet vision. That's not a horizon. Anybody who thinks that a horizon is a tangent point in Muppet vision, orthographic view, is an idiot, and they don't know what a horizon is. Now, in my comment section yesterday, there was a commenter responding to us suggesting that it is ludicrous to assert that a star is brighter than the sun. Now, this person got into the wrangle-dangle of what is a star, what is the sun, yeah? Now, when I answered them, I had to do a bit of a double take about what I was answering. I said, a star is one of those little lights that appear in the night sky when it's dark and clear. That's what a star is. Why are we having this conversation exactly? Where we need to ascertain amongst ourselves what a star is? Or in this case, what a horizon is? You don't have to have these conversations with normal people. You have them with indoctrinated, brainwashed globe believers. That's the only time you'll have what is deemed to them to be a reasonable conversation about what is a star. Now, I'm not talking about what makes its physical properties when we don't know about its physicality at all, but what I do know is what it represents to me when I look at it. Likewise, I know what a horizon is when I see one, and I know what one isn't when they show it in orthographic view.
So wait a second. Then why was I corrected when I said when I look up, you can't tell me nothing is as bright as the sun? Yesterday.
No, I described how they had scaling values to put something at a large distance equivalent to a headlamp versus a candle right in front of your face. The candle's right in front of your face and seems very bright. The car headlight 6 miles away seems very dim, but the one is brighter than the other. Well, by their scaling with Kepler, they say that this star's far away, and because it's twinkling at this particular lumen rate, it is this size, and therefore much brighter than the sun. Well, based on all heliocentric assumptions, it doesn't alter that when you accept that you have no explanation for what any of them are physically. All you've got is what they're represented to you as apparently. Apparently, the sun is brighter than the stars. That much is bloody obvious.
Know how to do this. This will be the subject of my next video, Al-Biruni versus Fermat.
That's it. Are you happy? All happy? We're done. That's it.
Is it at the end? Does it say you got any time left, or that it?
No, that's it. That's the end of his video.
All right. Yeah, tomorrow we'll do his Eratosthenes, just so you can see how dumb this guy is.
I don't want to do a different one from him.
What do you mean? It's on topic.
He's a bit remedial.
Yeah, I agree. He's making too many errors in terms of his dissemination of the information.
Right, but it's that whole point. This is what they accept. This is what this guy is. Look, he put effort into his graphics. He's done good work with graphics. Why is he starting a YouTube channel on this subject? He wants to grow, but he's blundering his way, which is to our benefit.
Why are you appealing to me about how well this guy does? I don't care. No,
His graphics. I mean, the guy is look. The big boys aren't going to respond to you. It's obvious. Maybe this guy will respond to you.
But I don't care if he does, because what difference does it going to make if somebody with 1,000 subscribers or less responds? Whereas
because you're only looking at one side of your whole reason you're doing this, which is bigger followers, subscribers, and if he talks about you, you might pick up some subscribers. That's one benefit of the bigger subscribers if they do it. Now, what's the other benefit from reviewing videos? Having someone be corrected, recant, and switch sides. Wouldn't that be a great win under our belt?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we got to review them in order for it to happen. What's the difference if he's got 500 followers or 5 million? They're talking about a bunch of stuff that they all say the same on both shows, which is easy to refute.
Well, Flatsoy started not going after, but starting to try to draw the Christians, preachers out that are still preaching heliocentrism. So we're getting them on all fronts, I believe.
Yeah, everyone's indoctrinated. They think it's science when it's pseudoscience, and they need correction so they could change their mind. They just need education.
Yeah, and I think it's very dangerous because, like I told you, my son's been into quantum mechanics and all of this quantum entanglement, quantum foam, quantum this, quantum that. Now he's telling me that you can sanctification process as a Christian goes on while you're in heaven. So it's twisting his whole doctrine, and it needs to be put to an end. So I need this to hit critical mass.
I think Mortimer is a lot more fun, personally, because of his attitude.
Yeah, but you said play all 7 Mortimers, which I had all geared up, and then you said stop at the 3rd one. Now you said let's do more.
Yeah, I want to finish the 3rd one.
Oh, I wasn't there when he didn't finish it. He didn't finish the 3rd one fully.
Oh, hell no. He didn't finish the first 2 minutes fully.
Wow.
That's all your fault. That's on all of you guys, not me.
You see, but how's the union going to do anything if the union rep doesn't know about these things?
Well, I was at a golf tournament. I can listen to the show to cast my vote. But now that I know in my absentee, I will cast my vote. Why didn't you finish Mortimer? Number 3.
There's only so much toilet cleaner you can take.
His computer crashed. That was legitimate, but to go back to him when you get a chance, just finish the last one because it's gravity and density. I thought that one would be probably the most important one, especially for.
Sorry.
Should we put it up tomorrow instead?
No, there's no time like the present. Let's get the ball rolling.
Like the present.
We promise we'll stay quiet. Let's go, Nathan.
Let's go,
Brian, I do have an answer for the rounding out. I do have an answer for that. It's when we say, all right, Nathan, we've had enough, then you round out. How's that sound?
I think you're all ace.
All right.
You're completely ignoring us.
And with that.
Yeah, we could put it on for a few minutes, Nathan, couldn't we? The Mortimer video.
Ryan, just a little second or two.
I mean, if we gave it, 15 minutes, wouldn't it be worth it? Rather than trying to make up conversations?
Ryan, especially that trick he pulled when he said, and we'll have a 2-hour after show. I listened to that again, and that's what he said. And then he changed it around.
I still have a sick stomach after that stuff.
That was a bait and switch if I ever seen one.
This little YouTuber that we saw today has one labeled, how far is the horizon? 8 minutes, 28 seconds long. And then, can we see past the horizon? 22 minutes.
Well, I don't know how you're supposed to see past the horizon. That makes no sense.
How about that Mortimer?
Yeah, about that Mortimer. I mean, like we have a good hour left of the show, Nathan. We could put it on for at least half of it.
Or Kiwi could go over the inertial reference frame and Newton one more time.
Oh,
That was really good.
That was
Yeah,
a good
you should
one.
do that one.
Yeah, I think Adam fell in love with that. I mean, overtly.
Yeah, I was a little worried about him.
Well, John Refracted Curvature commented this morning on it, and that's what I was referencing. And I think if Adam and John both love it, I think you ought to do it again and break it down even more.
I think we're going to do it on Ballbusters. If I'm not mistaken, I thought Adam was wanting to do something. I'll have to get back with him. How about Mortimer?
Hey, can I read what Divergent?
I mean, we have a line of credit here. Let's use it.
Actually, it wasn't Refracted Curvature. It was Divergent.
Oh.
He said, quick question, sir. Isn't it redundant to call a non-inertial reference frame a rotating reference frame since it has to be accelerating to begin with? I'm trying to figure what trips people up who cannot keep these two straight in their minds. I should be able to point to anything, and a flat earther should be able to tell me which type of reference frame it is in and why. They need to understand why your post above is a slam dunk because they cannot claim Newton's laws in the non-inertial reference frame. No wonder Adam loved this. I suspect you guys will discuss this on the live show. Oh, a good time right now, I think.
How about that Mortimer?
Not live.
How about that Mortimer?
Yeah.
You guys are going to end the show. He's going to end the show if you keep bringing Mortimer up.
Well, we have to talk about something.
How about Newton and inertial and non-inertial reference frame?
Okay. We'll get it going there.
No,
Yeah.
wait a second. How about we talk about why QE is not getting the respect he deserves? On other channels, he doesn't get the respect, and they're his arguments, and he deserves a lot of credit.
He's unwilling to do it a third time today to bring more clarity to it. That's why. But if he does it, he'll get more respect.
Go for it, Brian.
Well,
They're what, Brian? Boy, them Irish, they're quick.
You were going to go into relative density.
Say that again, Neil. I can work off of that. Go on, say that again.
I thought I heard you say something about relative density. I must be hearing things that.
No, that's Mortimer.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that was negative density. Thank you.
What is negative density?
Did you see that Eric DeBay did a video about the whole upward rising Earth thing?
I did. I thought I did, and I thought he was very diplomatic in his approach, and I'm going to give him props for that because typically Eric's not like that. He's less than diplomatic most of the time when dealing with other flat earthers. I don't know if it's because he had an extended, I don't want to say relationship, but interaction with Dell, that he's kept it subtle, just out of respect for Dell. But I was quite impressed with the way he approached it. There was plenty of aspects of what he debunked it with that I just didn't agree with. But live and let live in that regard, right? But yeah, I did see that, Brian.
I mean, I already pointed out where the mistakes are being made, right? Now, I'm not going to go naming any names because there's one or two people involved in this, one particular person who I'm friends with, and I'm not going to start bringing people into it. I don't know Dell or them, so there's no point in me mentioning them. But I already pointed out what's wrong with the effect that they're inducing. For a start, they're inducing this thing, but secondly, it's because of the fall rate of the bottle is so much greater than the rise rate of the cork or the apple or whatever that's inside the bottle within the water. But to debunk it, I mean, there's a million ways to debunk it. I mean, a helium balloon can't go up. It can't. There's no reason for it to keep going up and continue rising an elevation above the Earth, let's just say. If it was the air pushing it up, then the helium balloon would stay at an equal elevation. Once you'd leave it go, it would stay there. if you understand. It wouldn't keep going up. There's no reason for displacement. And you take an air-filled balloon and a helium balloon, you leave both of them go. The helium balloon will slowly rise to the ceiling, and the air-filled balloon will slowly go to the ground, right? Now, they won't even, you couldn't even guarantee without measuring it that that's even happening at the same rate, number one. And number two is that can't happen because density has no bearing on anything within that paradigm, because there is no density, there is no differential that matters, there is no weight, because the whole point of it is that nothing is going down due to having weight, it's the Earth is coming up to objects. But there's a simple way for anyone to debunk it. Another simple way to debunk it is impact force. If I drop something, let's say I take a coffee mug and I drop it from 1 foot above the ground outside my house, right? It'll probably break the handle off it. It'll probably break, right? It might break, it might not. But the chances are it will break a bit. If I go straight above to the top to the window that's only 8 foot or whatever above my head, and I drop it from there, when that hits, it's going to smash and go into pieces, and the area that it smashes in will be a bigger radius than when I drop it from 1 foot. So dropping it from like 10 foot or 12 foot or whatever, or dropping it from 1 foot, will give two different effects. The same thing, but two different impact forces. If you know what I mean, two different amounts of impact. I'm not describing that correctly. The force of impact will be greater from a higher elevation. That can only happen if the thing is accelerating more as it hits the ground. If the Earth is accelerating upwards at a constant rate, then nothing is accelerating downwards. So the cup or whatever that breaks from 1 foot above the surface of Earth, right, has to be no different than the one that breaks from 10 foot or 20 foot above. Do you know what I mean? You can't have different impact rates. You can't.
Can I ask a
question? Have a
question?
different radius.
Can I ask a question?
I understand what you're saying.
I understand too. I just want to understand motive, though. I know we haven't got a crystal ball or anything, but back to Eric DeBay's supposition of why Dell, in this instance, would be doing this. He just went straight to he's a shill. You know, like back in the day, back in all the old examples of Flat Earth, people wanted to shill for this crap. Well, Dell's just a shill. Well, maybe. I don't know. But has anybody else got any thoughts beyond he's a shill on why Dell would want
I wouldn't consider him to
Hold
be
on.
I don't think he's a show.
Can I just confirm Dell thinks the Earth is moving upwards now?
Yes, Chocolate, where you been, man?
What the hell?
He's been, yeah.
Yeah, he's being a reifying idiot. I mean, I've been addressing it on my channel all the time about the whole thinking of the Earth as accelerating upward. And always I emphasize it's not actually that. And even if it were, you could never prove it within physics. So it's completely useless to assume that. It's just another presupposition.
But you can disprove it. That's the point. It's easy to disprove. The point is that I don't like back to Nathan's question. I don't think he's a shill at all. He's been around for years. He's never come across to me as someone who is not honest. I think he's honest. I just think that he's wrong. You know, some people can just be wrong.
Correct,
I mean,
Brian.
No, that's not what I mean.
That's why I asked the question.
That's not what I mean. Let me just clarify what I mean, Chocolate. Sorry. I mean, what's in it for Dell claiming there's an upward acceleration of the Earth at 9.8 meters per second or 9.8 meters per second? What's the? I don't get it. What's the point? Why claim it? What's the purpose? That's what I'm trying to drive.
It's very simple, Nathan. It would, yeah, it's a replacement for gravity. It would tell him why do dense thing goes down and less dense thing go up. Like the cause of relative density. That's it. It's the little kid that just can't stop asking why. That's it.
The same as Bob, isn't it? What we're trying to ascertain here is trying to keep the belief that there's a force in play. Yeah. Now, Bob wanted it to use electropher and ectropher to instigate the direction of orientation for relative density disequilibrium. Bob's trying to put an electro force in there that defines that. What the ballers do is have their gravity, and what this is doing is creating that same force, but with the Earth moving up. It's to assign how relative density disequilibrium will play out. So which way things will go. So by putting a force in, it's obvious. By putting a flow of current in, it makes it. But you're making an assumption there that that's the cause, and that's where I would never go anywhere near. We know how RDD works, but what they're trying to do is assign an understanding and a kind of one step back cause as to what's making this happen in this manner.
I don't understand the point of making the ground move in any direction, let alone upwards, to have any of this happen. Like, this is ridiculous to me. Are you serious?
I don't think
it designates an orientation direction play out because you're putting a force in this way. Now everything's having the force applied. So now that's why relative densities differentials equilibrate, because they've all got a force pushing up. On a ball, we've all got a force pushing down. But that pushing is the thing that then is the causation for relative density differences to sort themselves. Does that make sense? They're trying to elucidate a cause, in most cases, by putting a force in to set the direction. Does it need that?
I have to disagree with that.
Go on, then.
No. Once you see, gravity being claimed to be a force of pulling down, right, was a way of trying to describe the effects of density differential. Whereas the Earth moving up takes away all density differential. Density differential has not, because density differential, why does my phone fall through air? Because the air, right, I'm going to say, the air can't support it. The air is not dense enough to support it, right? So my phone is denser, so it's the weight, the air can't support the weight, which is created by density over volume of my phone. So, right, so my phone goes to the ground. The helium balloon, right, is less dense as a volume than the air around it. So the helium balloon will go up, right? If you have an Earth moving up the way, then all those effects are nullified. They can't exist because they are based around weight.
No, incorrect.
The rest of it's pushing up, and because of relative density and buoyancy, that's why it's still up. This is not my claim. No. This is what they're trying to claim to put. See, because what you're saying there, you're making a statement, and I don't have an answer to it. But why does things that are denser than the medium always follow the same vector? And why do things that are lighter than the medium follow, again, a similar vector? And it's that causation, that reasoning that they're trying to put a force into to give them understanding. When we've not even demonstrated.
No, you missed my point.
It's not about how does
I'm finishing the fucking sentence. I'm not missing the point, Brian. That's Bob Nodell's point. That's Whitsitt's point, and it's in reverse. What these guys are doing, they're trying to elucidate a reason for RDD to play out in the way it does.
That's right. It's not about how does the density displace. It's about what causes it to displace as it does. That's what they get hung up on. That is what it is.
No, what they're claiming nullifies what this upward moving Earth nullifies all density differential. Nullifies it completely.
No, it doesn't.
You have no basis to make such a statement, Brian. You can't tell either way.
Listen. Maybe if you listen, you'll hear it.
Because listen to you. You've been saying this for weeks now, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you're not listening for weeks.
It didn't make sense then.
You're not listening for weeks. So I have to say it a million other times.
Explain it then, Brian. Come on.
Yeah, weight does not exist if the Earth is going up. That's the point. There is no weight. Nothing has weight. Nothing can be measured as having a downward weight force in air. There is no air. There is no weight or density differential. That does not exist. If the whole point is that if I leave go of a helium balloon and a brick at the same time, the two of them have to stay right where they are, and the Earth come up and meet them. Not that the brick will go down and the helium balloon go up. That's nullified by the fact that there is no such thing as weight. There is no down and there is no up. There's only a waiting for the Earth to meet them. There is no weight. It's gone. Because they take it away with an upward moving Earth. And some of them don't realise this. The weight doesn't exist anymore. It's the Earth is moving up. Like Einstein. There is no weight.
I think I get
Doesn't
what you're
exist.
saying.
Yeah.
Well, no, explain it because I'm struggling here. I'm struggling
Because he's
because I'm
saying-
not talking about
I
weight. We're
totally
talking
understand what
about.
Brian's saying. I totally understand.
But let Neil explain to me because
No. What the problem is, you guys are getting confused, is Brian is claiming what they are claiming. That's where the confusion lies.
No, he's saying they can't claim it, but I'm not claiming they're having anything to do. We've gone on to weight, but I thought we were talking about what causes. Right. So when we talk about Ethereums, when we talk about electric potential, these are all the reason that it orientates in that way, i.e. denser than the medium that way, lighter than the medium that way. That's what they're saying is the reason it plays out like that. I kind of grasp your point when you're talking about that Einsteinian upward accelerating Earth, how that is a problem. But that, you see, to me, all they've done is invoke one force that will give some kind of ordering as you accelerate everything up. But that's even worse because it's still not really given a causation for orientation. It's just
but you're
dragging stuff upwards.
Yeah, but Brian, he's right about that. They are trying to invoke a force because even in flat earth the other day, that's what this guy was saying. There has to be some force involved.
Please keep Witsit and Bob and all them out of it. Stick to the one thing, which is the Earth claiming to be moving up. Thank you, QB. I know you're on the point with that. Stick to that. Weight does not exist because there is no down. So there is no up. There is no density differential. If the Earth is moving up to meet the object, then the object is not coming down to meet the Earth. And so there's no density differential causing a helium balloon to go up.
No, because I'm stood on the ground.
Can't exist.
I'm stood on the ground right now, and an upward force is being applied to me and everything else. And because I'm heavier, that upward force means I know there isn't.
Exist.
Right. I know that, but in terms of what now causes weight in their world, my greater number of molecules, will have a play out in terms of orientation of me, is what they're claiming. So, but once again, they're invoked. Yes, if it's like me spinning a pail of water, isn't it? Yeah, with some sand in the bottom.
No,
sand's going to stay at the bottom.
You don't have any weight. That's the point.
No, you're trying to down. No, because I don't have weight anyway. That's not weight. Weight in their world is M times G.
Yeah, but if you
so that's what you're saying they've not got, isn't it? M times G.
Hold on a second. Whose world?
What?
Whose world?
This is not the real world.
You said in their world. Who are we talking about?
Ballers world. M times G is weight.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about the upward moving out.
And you're exactly. I know. So you're saying they don't have weight, and I said no, they can't have weight in their world, can they? Because it's M times G.
No, that's how the ballers hijacked what we describe as weight. Right? They hijacked that. Weight is weight is what? Weight is defined as a downward force.
No, it's not. It's just weight. Downward pressure.
But it's hang on. Weight is down. Let's just wait. There is no. You're confusing matters because you're trying to bring in M times G. M times G has nothing to do with why something goes down or something goes up. It doesn't exist. M times G doesn't exist.
Mass times acceleration won't give a resultant force.
It'll give you a mathematical force. In reality, it's not why something goes down or something goes up. The reason something is going down is because it's more dense than the air. But if the Earth is moving up, then there is no reason for something to go down because it's not going down. And the same reason, then there's no reason for something to go up. It won't be going up. The two things will sit in equilibrium until the Earth meets it. So a helium balloon won't go up and a brick won't go down. You leave them go and the Earth will meet them. One won't go down and one won't go up.
So that's the claim that the people that are making about the Earth going or accelerating up. Correct?
No, and I tell you why. That's the claim they are making, but they don't realize they're making it. They still think that relative density and other things are involved, missing the point that no, once things aren't going down to the Earth, once the Earth is coming up, then there is no down and up. The Earth is coming up, and everything just waits for it to meet them. So there's no reason for something to go down.
You don't have to have that mutual exclusivity, though. And I don't think in their world they have that. I think you've still got RDD orientating. So stuff still... Or is this purely Einsteinian what you're describing there in terms of relativity?
Yeah, it's purely the object is sitting in free space and the Earth comes up to meet it. That's exactly what it is. No wave, no up, no down.
It's the mathematical. Okay, yeah, fair point.
So everything's got to wait for the Earth, you're saying, Brian?
Yeah, the Earth is moving up at 9.81 meters per second squared. That's what they're claiming, because I don't know if Dell realizes that that's an equation, not a measurement. That preassumes a vacuum, and it has not. That's an equation of acceleration that preassumes a vacuum. So, but they're claiming the Earth is moving up at 9.81 meters per second squared. So when I said you can drop a stone and a piece of cork of equal volume, and the stone will hit the floor first, that can't happen in their narrative. The air-filled balloon and the helium-filled balloon can't go in different directions. They just have to sit where they are until the air comes up to meet them.
Wow. See, if y'all didn't listen, that's what Brian was trying to say. Even simplistic, dumbed down me, I was understanding what he was saying, but I was not going to interject and try to help him because I'd have fucked it all up. But I had gotten it, what he was saying.
I just want to know who is claiming what. What's the fucking claim? Who's making the claim? That's probably pretty important. And the significance?
As best I know, Dell and people who follow Dell are claiming that the Earth is moving upwards at 9.81 meters per second squared. That's the best I can get out of it. That's the most clear claim I can get.
What the hell?
No, because that's not right, is it? They're not. So they're saying they're moving up at 9.8 meters per second, not accelerating at second squared.
Squared, yeah, 9.81 meters per second squared. The Earth is moving up, accelerating upward.
So it's accelerating.
Acceleration. That's not a constant.
That's what I'm saying.
Problem.
Yeah. That's messy, then, isn't it? So
that's
an hour ago, so ultimately, then, if that's a constant acceleration, and we just go back 1,000 years, what bloody speed am I doing now compared to last week? Unless the acceleration requires a change in direction, but that's not what they're claiming. So it's got to be an increase.
Yeah, you're right.
Technically, the 9.81 meters per second squared calculation used with G actually debunks the claim, because it shows that there's a greater impact from something being dropped from a higher position than a lower position due to an increased acceleration. If we use that equation and we use G, then it shows there's a greater impact, which debunks the claim that the Earth is moving up at 9.81 meters per second squared, which is why if I drop something from a foot above the ground, it'll be less broken than if I drop it from 20 foot above the ground.
Because
there can't be a difference.
Sitting there, right?
Yeah, there can't be a difference. There is no difference at that point. So technically, we can debunk this using, and isn't it funny that the Flat Earth Society pushed this nonsense? Yes, we can debunk it using Charles Vernon Boy's equation and an acceleration due to G. How adequate is that for certain people? Think about that.
Brilliant, Brian. Brilliant.
I think Adam's really thinking about this because he's trying to find the flaw. I'm not taking a go at you. That's just how your mind works. I know it.
No, it's hard to step out of reality. Sorry.
Well, that gives me a whole new...
Go on, do your content. Do your pun.
Thank you. I'm about to go. Yeah, it gives me a whole new concept of speed bumps.
I thought you were going to say you feel lifted up after this conversation.
Well, those stupid speed bumps, you got to drive slow over them. But if I know they're coming up, I'm not worried anymore.
That's pretty fast,
that
y'all.
we had this
Think about it, that's
conversation.
pretty fast. 9.81 meters squared. That's fast as fuck. How come I don't feel it?
Per second squared.
Oh my
9.81
God,
meters per
seconds.
second squared. Yeah.
Oh my God. How come I don't feel it?
But
How come I don't feel
see,
that?
that's just a
That
calculation.
feeling when I lift my leg, because I know when the elevator is shooting up fast, or I'm on one of those amusement park rides that go up real fast, I can feel that, like I can't really, go against it. How come I don't feel like that when I'm just hopping along the earth?
Hey, Brian,
Skipping.
if you go to McDonald's, is that fast food coming up, or are you?
So that comes up after you eat it.
But
Exactly.
But all jokes aside, isn't it very strange that the easiest way, basically one of the easiest way, or a way it can be debunked, the claim that the Earth is moving up at 9.81 meters per second squared, one of the easiest ways to debunk it is to just use the 9.81 meters per second squared with G to show there's a greater impact force. That would be all the public would need to go, yeah, that's wrong, globe is right. That's all they need.
And
So
Stupid,
Brian,
isn't it?
and also,
wouldn't
hold
we
on
have
one
second? So
wouldn't we have
Brian, one second, D. So Brian,
All right.
the helium balloon is going up, right? But you're saying that's not happening if the Earth is coming up because there is nothing going down and nothing going up. So that means the Earth is going to meet everything at this. I don't get that, because wouldn't the helium balloon be moving up?
No, there's no reason. You see, when the helium balloon goes up, it's going in a vector. Let's just say a vector. Its vector is up. When the brick is going down, it's going in the vector of down. But the reason for them going up and down is due to the density differential with the medium. But if the Earth is rising up at 9.8 meters per second squared, then the brick can't go down because there is no going down. And the helium balloon is not going up because there is no going up. There is only equilibrium for both of them until the Earth meets them. Because all other effects and claims, whether that be electric gravity, a force of G, relative density, any of it, it's all nullified because it's all taken away by the claim that the Earth is moving up.
Oh. So that explains why when I throw a football to my son, or when I watch a gnat or a fly take off flight, that I wanted to squat. How come the Earth doesn't squat it by the time it catches up to it? Because that fly and that gnat is real fast. I don't. It's the most asinine thing I've ever heard in my life. I'd rather take
Airplanes would
gravity
have to
than
keep
this
flying
dumb
up the
shit.
way. Airplanes would have to fly at an upward angle all the time, and I don't even know how they take off. They won't. If they were trying to, how would they hold an altitude?
They'd
have to go upwards at all the time.
This has got some
because the Earth is moving up, right?
This has got some Coriolis nonsense to it. It seems like.
Wow.
Yeah, but airplanes, right? And what's wrong is people will make the mistake. They'll go, well, an airplane is pointed slightly up, so it is flying up. It's like, no, its pitch above horizontal changes with its airspeed. So does that change the rate that the Earth is moving up underneath it? It has to have a pitch above horizontal to fly horizontally. That's what it does. They fly horizontally. It would have to have a constant upward angle to keep an altitude, which would make the distance between 2 points much longer because it's a hypotenuse distance and not then a baseline distance. You know what I mean? I don't know why people are.
If they maintain 30,000 feet, then sooner or later the Earth's going to catch up to them and they'll be landing before they get to their spot. Basically.
Yeah.
Well, how does this work with? Hey, Brian, is this because Einstein said it's a pizza pie going up, or whatever Einstein's relationship to this is? Do they mix that?
I'm not sure. I did speak with someone, and they did bring in Einstein into it, but See, that the problem with Einstein is its imagination. You can't bring, like, if you're talking about reality, if we're talking about reality, then we have to take the claim as read, which is that there is no up and down. There's only waiting for the Earth to meet. As it goes, the only up, everything is up. There is no down. There is no up.
But that sounds like but that sounds like imagination. The Earth moving up at 9.8 meters.
It is, but it is, and and as I said earlier, guess what is one of the easiest ways to show that it's debunked? To use 9.81, Charles Van Boy's 9.81 meters per second squared and a force of G to show impact. I can show with impact.
That impacting is big.
Yeah, I can show with impact. I can show with different impact rates, and using that equation and a force of G, which is that equation is basically using it detailing an acceleration, because it's detailing an acceleration, which is not a constant velocity. And as Adam was pointing out earlier, that's an acceleration rate that something gets to. That's the claim.
So, Brian, I got to try to understand this because I think I got it. When you say that if you drop a cup from a foot, right, and then you drop a cup from, say, 10 feet, there's going to be a difference in how it breaks, right? There's going to be more force rate, right? That's what you're saying? And that can't happen if the Earth is moving up because there is no force rate coming down, right? Like, what's the difference if it's 10 feet or a foot?
Exactly, because the cup will accelerate more from 10 feet up than it will from 1 foot up.
Right, but the Earth
Neil, to make it easier for you, the forensics part of investigation would see a cup with a debris spread over 10 feet wide, and then the other cup that was dropped from 1 foot up, a debris maybe 1.5 feet wide.
No, I got that, but the reason for that is because the Earth is coming up, so it don't matter where it is.
Right, but hang on, but hang on, but that's his point. The point is the Earth is coming up.
I'm saying I got it.
Let me finish then. If you got, but the Earth is coming up at a set speed, whereas those two prove two different accelerations.
I know. That's what I said. I want to make sure I got it.
Yeah, probably best if we hear you saying "I know" over the top of it over and over again than the example. I think that's definitely more worthwhile.
Mind your business. You've been quiet for this whole time. Now you come in.
Are you going to play that? Are you going to play that Mortimer video now, or so?
Maybe I don't explain things right, but that's what I was trying to say because it ain't going to make a difference.
With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!